We are live, we are Brap, and we love gaming, and we have a great show in store for everyone. We have two special guests joining us this evening, and we're going to do another giveaway in the live chat. So let's get it started right now. All right. It's happy hump day, everyone. It's Brap. We're back. And we got a lot to talk about this evening, even more topics to discuss. And we have two special guests joining us, two returning guests, I might add. We have Hogue from Hogue Law Firm. Hogue, what is going on? Welcome back to Brap, sir.
Thank you so much. You've got new graphics and intros and everything since I was last here, so it feels a little bit fancier than my digs in YouTube land.
Feels like you did a Dr. Disrespect stream with that.
We bought it all on credit, though. It's
what he to do with you? What he can't even afford his own graphics without.
Don't have to go with video and a wig. I'm okay.
Oh my God. Best part of the show.
Yeah. Well, Hogue, it's a pleasure having you back on. And yeah, we did do a little tweak upgrade since the last time you were here a couple months ago. Yeah. Big shout out to Graphic God, by the way. Jay, the Graphic God. You can find him on Twitter for putting this together for us. So mad love to Jay. And last but not least, we got Tony Polanco. Tony, welcome back to Brap, sir. It's been a minute, man.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. Yo, that intro is hot, son. I like that.
Thank you, man.
That shit was dope. Yo, but I gotta, just state the obvious right now. Yo, my face is being covered.
Yeah,
up
I was about to say.
I know.
What the fuck, man?
Tell that man to cut your head off, man.
You know.
There we go. Hey. There we go.
Listen, man, you can't deny the ladies' gorgeousness, bruh. Yeah, no, but I'm happy to be back, man. It's gonna be. Yeah, it's been it's been probably over a year since I've been in this motherfucker, man. So I'm ready, man.
Has it been a year, man?
It must have been like it feels like it.
It might have been a year.
It might have been a year, bro.
But to be fair though, 2020 has felt like it's been 20 years long. So
bro, you have never lied, man.
Fuck.
Hey, by the way, thank God for gaming during this pandemic, right?
Word. It's been a good year, man. Like I've said this. Some people didn't like it when I said this. I said 2020 so far, despite all the Rona bullshit, in gaming has been better than all of 2019. 2019 was terrible, man. I struggled to find games that year, but this year it's like we had fucking Resident Evil 3, we had Doom Eternal, Streets of Rage 4, Final Fantasy 7 remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2. It's like, bruh, we're
bangers.
Like, yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's true, man. It's going to become 2 hours of me defending Death Stranding and Days Gone, isn't it?
Yo, Resident Evil 3 was this year. That doesn't even feel like this year.
What I'm saying,
like that was last year.
Pre-March is a different time.
March itself was
pre-March is a different time. Yeah. Hogue, I'm with you on Death Stranding. It's one of my favorite games.
Death Stranding's awesome. Go play it on PC too. It's badass.
Oh, it's amazing on PC. And all its PC glory. By the way, Tony, since you were last on, I bought a PC rig, a gaming rig.
Shit.
Yeah, it's
joined the master race, bruh.
Yeah, I'm not looking back, sir. Nope. Just not gonna do it, man. It is so, like we just talked about Death Stranding. That game at, what is it? I'm getting like 110 frames a second. Oh, the game is just night and day from console. Real quick, guys, we do have a super chat. Give big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. Please hit that like button if you haven't done so already. We have El Matador 809 with a $2 super chat. It says Sony event August the 6th. SOCOM. There is a rumor that there's going to be potentially a Sony event August the 6th. I don't know about SOCOM. I don't think SOCOM's going to be a thing. I could be wrong.
Fingers crossed, baby. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
SOCOM, right, I'm going to be in that multiplayer like, bow.
If anyone's making SOCOM, it's probably Guerrilla. Because they are making a multiplayer game, but I think that's probably just they're bringing Killzone back. But we'll see.
No,
Tony,
we don't want that.
Tony, I got to ask you, man, because you're in that you're a game journalist. You're in that space.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything? Any nuggets you can share about maybe a SOCOM game coming.
No,
just not happening.
Yeah, like, and I'm not saying this like, oh, he can't say anything. I literally haven't heard anything. Like, there's been absolutely no chatter with that. I know a lot of people, they've been asking for this game literally for like over a decade now. I have heard absolutely nothing. So unfortunately, that's just how it is, man. And here's the thing: even if they brought the game back, I don't doubt it would be the same people who made the original. So
no, they're gone. Was that Zipper Interactive?
Yeah, Zipper. Yeah, they're done.
Yeah, they don't exist anymore. But I mean, like maybe you could outsource it to someone who could do a remake or like a reimagining. Oh God, I hate saying that word now. But just something like close to what it was. Same theme, but different gameplay, of course. But I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll listen to us eventually.
Yeah, I think people need to stop with the nostalgia. It's like just let it go, man. It's like me. I'm always asking for Soul Reaver. That shit ain't coming back either, man. That's got to accept it.
That's
Soul Reaver's a good one.
Yeah,
that would be it. Soul Reaver coming back would be great, but it's not coming. Just like Splinter Cell is never going to come back. I'm convinced of this.
Man, Black was so fucking good.
No, Splinter Cell's coming back.
Yeah,
I think it's coming
Splinter
back.
Cell come back. I got my money on Siphon Filter at one of these events.
What? Siphon Filter? You know what? Hope there's that room. There's been a Siphon Filter rumor for a long time.
Well, if you got far enough in Days Gone, you know that Siphon Filter universe right there.
Ooh, that's.
You just messed this man up.
No, yeah, you did. I'm going to be daydreaming about this. I love Days Gone, by the way. Great game. I thought that great game. And, we'll talk about. Speaking of Sony first party, we're going to talk about Ghosts of Tsushima. I don't know if you pronounce that correctly. I think that's how Kofi pronounces it.
I think it's sushi muffins.
Or sushi muffins, as Slow-Mo likes to call. Hey, but real quick, guys, I do want to introduce the Brad panel. We got Eric Jackson live from the Epicenter. REEJ, as I call him. What's up, man?
Yo, what's going on, people? How's everybody doing tonight?
Now, how are the zombies down there in South Florida, man?
They're out there, man. Like I said, I don't go anywhere. So I'm in here, rifle in my hand, I'm ready.
Hey, if you see Chris Redfield, you know what to do.
Yo, man.
I don't know. Chris Redfield been acting like a badass, man, that last trailer.
Man.
So.
I don't know, man. You see Chris Redfield, you might need to run.
Yeah, you might get out of his way, man.
Yo, Redfield, I had MD eclipsing people, man.
Yeah. All right, man. All right, man. We got B Money. What's going on, man?
Oh, not much, man. Glad to be here. Another great Wednesday night, man. So let's get to it.
Absolutely, man. We got Slow-Mo Damas, the man of many backslaps.
What's up, y'all? What's up, chat?
Apparently, you're a
panel,
developer,
man.
God, here we go. Corda Forte in that. By the way, great. By the way, guys, all joking aside, and I said this to you guys on your show last night. Forte, and for our viewers out there, if you guys, everyone listening right now, you have to check out Forte and Slow-Mo. They've been getting together like Tuesday nights. 8 o'clock? I can't remember now. 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
It was 9 o'clock last night.
Yeah, and great stuff. Seriously. So please, everyone in the live chat, definitely check these guys out. But Slow-Mo, always a pleasure having you on, man. And hopefully you'll be handing out some more backslaps this evening.
Man, it's always awesome to be here. I don't know about backslapping people. I think I did a little bit too much of that last night. My pimp hand is sore, so I'm just going to kind of chill, say my piece every now and then. And just,
you had the talcum powder out yesterday, man.
Yeah, you did.
My man came
leaving handprints.
Man, he did a chance for an intro. As soon as I went live, he just started spewing all types of hate.
Just dropping bars. It was like a mixtape.
Volcano. I had to let it out, man. I was very upset. It's what happens when you're a big fan of a franchise and you hear some things that you don't like. You get a little angry, but it is what it is.
Can I ask you a question, Slow-Mo?
Mm-hmm.
Let's define fan for a minute, okay?
This is about to turn into a 30-minute conversation.
This is in the Webster's dictionary.
Yeah, let's kind of decide. Does a fan just sit back and say other people are not fans, that they saw something and they didn't really like it? You're not really a fan? Or does the real fan say, yo, I have respect for this thing. I want it to be the best that it's going to be, and here's what I think about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's the latter, and the former. The people who do the former, they might have some issues.
Yeah,
they might need to go see somebody, have a talk or two. Maybe maybe some medication. I don't know, like
It
something.
sounds like a good thesis paper for somebody who was going to research.
Oh my
something.
goodness. So
Well, I think if you really love something, right? If you really love something like, I don't know, let's say Star Wars or Game of Thrones or Halo, and you want to see these things succeed. So you're prepped, you're sitting back, you want them to be great. I think even if you don't like it immediately and you're underwhelmed personally, you strike potentially a defensive posture. I don't usually do that myself, but a lot of people have that kind of baked in, that they're really in favor of these things, and that Star Wars music comes up, or that Halo, the really cool Halo music comes up, and you see a Halo ring, and it's that must be good. I couldn't possibly not be reacting to it the way I want to. And I don't begrudge anybody that legitimately liked it. I begrudge the folks that I saw on Twitter and elsewhere over the weekend essentially saying you're no true fan if you didn't get excited about this, because
Exactly.
Yes, and that's who Eric is talking about. The ones that just dismiss other people's feelings about a particular brand or game or whatever just because they disagree with it. It's just like, oh, you can't be a fan of the game if you're saying these things. It's just like, that's not how this works.
Right.
Like I hold it somewhat sacred. I mean, I have a lot of nostalgia around these, and it's just anything, maybe I'm voicing that opinion because I want them to know you have to come correct. They can't nothing can get better if you don't vocalize and say what you feel inside. But if you sit back and say, this is perfect the way it is.
Well, you always got to walk the line, because somebody somewhere did think it that was perfect legitimately, and that's
right. Absolutely
fine.
Absolutely. And exactly. I'm like, go for it. Hey, that's beautiful, but you need
Please teach me how. Yes.
You need that yin. You need that yin and yang. So yeah.
That's it. And that's it. Let me also reiterate once again before someone misquotes me. I really enjoyed the gameplay. The gameplay looked the best 343 has done so far. There's always been something a little off with the gunplay,
but slow-mo. It was
with
just a little bit outside.
Just a bit outside.
Yeah, just a little bit. But like, this is
the new weapon types look dope.
Yeah. Like I thought that was tight. I thought the gunplay was tight. And
side by side playing next to Destiny, it looked like Destiny, but that's another conversation.
Well, it was bold of Microsoft to let Bungie put that up there, wasn't it? To have Destiny in the same showcase. Those look different.
Right.
Right. So Hogue, you noticed that too.
Your ex and your new girl at the same time. I was like, hey, how you doing?
It's like having the cover band opening for the actual band. It's just like,
whoa. And that's the crown jewel at launch. It was a surprise because that was one of their big announcements, right? Is that Destiny was going to be on Game Pass, which is fantastic for them. But it's like you look at those and you say, well, that's two different caliber of studios, in my opinion, just looking at it from afar.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well. On that note, I do want to, last but not least, we got Gaming Forte. Forte, what is going on, sir? Forte, I love your videos, man. Good stuff.
I appreciate it, man.
You're cranking them out, man.
Oh, actually, one is rendering right now. One is rendering right now.
There you go, behind the scenes.
I just want to take some credit here for lighting the fire under Forte's Guardian playing behind to stop playing Destiny as much and make some videos. I just want to say that, like, the bet where I'm forced to make this grounded video, it was partly me trying to motivate him into doing this. And so all the videos you guys are enjoying, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh God.
I mean, I didn't make them. He made them. But you're welcome for my part in that. So for now and on to infinity. So yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, that's too funny. Forte, but it's great having you back, man. And any luck, by the way, Forte? I'm going to ask you this: any luck with any of the Ghosts of Tsushima collectors?
Those things are gone everywhere.
Yeah, I talked to my guy Games. So
I literally, when I was at work on Monday, I literally did a nationwide search, and nobody has them.
Yeah. They're selling for about $350 right now on Amazon.
What?
And I'm not paying $350 for a collector's edition. No way.
I saw someone with a picture of one. Was that you?
I got one the day it dropped.
Yeah, you posted the picture on Twitter, right?
Wait, you found one at a store, or you?
I pre-ordered.
He pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
But Enrique, man, both myself and Deathloid sent you links the day Wario posted.
He sure did.
I know. I
remember
clicked on the link, and as soon as I clicked, they were gone.
Oh, you got to be there, man. So, but we both hit you up and say, "Yo, you."
No, I know. I clicked like I think it was I saw Deathloid. I saw your link. I clicked on I think Deathloid. I think he said it to me first. Clicked on it, and then as soon as I tried to go to buy, it was gone. Like instantaneous.
Wait, hold on a second. I got a quick question.
Yo,
are you guys buying physical games?
Yes.
Why?
Why not?
Why?
Why? That doesn't make any sense.
I only buy digital for games I know I'm never going to get rid of. That's it.
Oh, is it a I'm genuinely curious. Is it like a resale thing for you guys?
No. Collector's edition stuff. Like I like the book and stuff, but typically typically what I'll do is I'll just like if it's a hot game that comes out, I'll just sell it on eBay. People buy the disc like immediately. And that money just goes to my physical my digital version.
Hey Tony, Tony, I'm crazy. Like The Last of Us Part 2, Tony. I got the digital version so I could play it at midnight, right?
Yeah.
But I also pre-ordered the what is it? The collector's edition?
The LE edition.
No, not the I got the one with the steel case book, and then Forte found me the collector's edition and sent that to me. But I only do physical just for like the steel case stuff, man, and the collector's edition.
See, that makes sense because I'm like, because here's the thing. I started the generation physical, but then when I realized that you have to install the entire game onto your hard drive anyway, I'm like, what the fuck is the point of buying physical? There's because I don't resell games, I don't really do that.
See,
I'm like, what's the point of this? And then obviously I was like, damn, this is a lot more convenient. I don't have to get up and put a disc in or nothing. This is fantastic. So I've never looked back. And also keeping it real. I live in New York. Our apartment space is at a premium. I don't have room for this shit anymore.
Oh yes,
I've been on that same thing since about 2015. I think the last physical game the only time I've bought any physical games is for my son for his Nintendo DS and two of my sons, with their DSs. But for me personally, since 2015, I think the last actual game I purchased was The Division, like physical game, and since then it's been digital all the way.
Xbox I buy pretty much all physical because I don't have to buy games on Xbox. PlayStation I buy all digital because I only play first party on there. Nintendo I only buy physical because those games hold their value very well, and if I ever decide to want to get rid of my Nintendo collection, I can literally sell it for damn near how much I paid for it, just because those games never go on sale, even when they're used at certain stores.
The resale value is insane.
They never drop, and I got over 40 Switch games, they're all physical.
Yeah, the resale value on Nintendo Switch is like
ridiculous,
crazy insane. Yeah, they hold their value like crazy.
Because Nintendo never drops the prices. They're always $60 no matter what.
We do. Remember,
first party games, obviously third party sometimes come down to like.
Well, remember when the Wii U came out? What was it? 300, and I think the lowest that they dropped was 279. The whole generation, the part of the generation that it was a part of, but it only dropped $30 in price. Even when they were liquidating that thing, they didn't drop the price.
Yeah, Nintendo, they're crazy, man. I call that shit the Nintendo tax. That's what I call it.
That's funny. That's too funny. Real quick, guys, I do want to get to the topics here. Gabe Newell, co-founder from Valve, had some comments about next generation consoles. Asked which console he preferred. Basically said Xbox Series X. He didn't give any reason other than
just a smart man. That's what he did.
Just because, and it was funny. Like the reason I'm talking about this because like almost every website ran with this story. I'm like, is this slow news cycle? Like he didn't really give a reason why. He just said because.
He's a smart man. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
if he comes out and says PlayStation's the better system, is it going to get that type of news? Is Gabe Newell going to be trending on Twitter? No,
maybe not.
You say Xbox.
I think he would just based off of who he is. Whichever platform he would have answered probably would have ended up trending.
I mean, he did say at one point that Nintendo was, the Wii U was one of the, best systems. at one point. So we all know how that system ended up turning out. I mean, I just think he's just thinking from like a archetype standpoint when it comes to like the systems that he works with, his company works with. It kind of mirrors, even though Sony is in that same ecosystem. I just think when you think personal computer, you just think Microsoft. You just kind of think of everything that revolves around Microsoft, and they just happen to make a system. So to him, it is a more powerful system. Couldn't tell by the reveal, but but definitely it is a more powerful system in practice.
That's more of a developer issue and less of a hardware.
Well, we talked about this yesterday, Slow-Mo.
Yeah.
So
but there's some people who think that Gabe was just really taking shots at, subtly taking shots at his competition, which he may somewhat view Sony as part of that now due to other things with Epic and Sony, but I don't know about that.
That's true. Well, he is stuck over in Australia right now because he refused to come home since the virus hit.
That's
why he's still in. That's why he's still over in Australia because
he rather brave the fires that are burning Australia than come back here. That's right.
He literally said he literally said it. It was like, hey, he went on a family vacation earlier this year, and the virus hit here, and he's like, well, I guess I'm going to stay here.
Yeah, I'm not. Hence the beard that he has now.
No, that beard is ridiculous, bro.
He looks like Santa Claus right now.
It's nice to be independently wealthy.
I know, right? Yeah.
The backstory of all this, man. You can make a video. Hogue, I need you to make a video on Gabe Newell. I need to find a video to make because your videos are.
You think I'm getting heat right now for being called an Xbox or Sony shill, depending on the day of the week? If I attack Gabe Newell, it's all over. The channel's coming down.
You're gonna have those Valve fanboys coming after you.
I can't take everybody in the world. I just hate all games and everything. No, I think what he said makes the most sense. I think the Xbox sales pitch, and regardless of what they're able to show with their own first-party developers right now, is the easiest to understand. It's a brute force box. It's hugely strong. It is stronger on paper on all of the GPU and CPU figures than the PlayStation. Essentially, to think that the PlayStation 5 will be better, and it could be, you have to believe in some of what Mark Cerny is saying is the secret sauce. And if Gabe Newell hasn't gotten his hands deep into whatever the hell they're doing over at Sony, then it's easy to say, the Series X looks like the easier pitch for being a stronger box.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably that could be it too. Yeah. I just thought it was interesting more than anything that this story was like every media site was covering this, and I was just like, really? He said about 3 words, and that was it. Like, he didn't go into like details as to why.
I mean, it's not like they're not all covering every little thing that comes out.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, that's true.
Literally, when a fart can happen and they'll cover it.
Phil Spencer farts.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's kind of funny now because like fanboys have like a mascot on either side now. Because like on the PlayStation side they have Sweeney. Down on this side.
Are you saying fanboys have mascots?
Oh my god!
Hey, man, they always related to sports. You might as well, right?
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah,
I don't want either Tim Sweeney or Gabe Newell. I reject the notion.
You don't want a jersey with the?
You want a Sweeney jersey?
You're going to get me in trouble. We spent the whole pre-show talking about how I don't do politics on my channel. I'm listening. I'm watching Twitter do Tim Sweeney tweets about the whole antitrust tech hearings in the Senate, and I'm like, I'm going to say something. And you know what? No, I'm not going to say anything with my branded Twitter account.
I fully expect a video about the antitrust or the hearings that are going on right now on Capitol Hill with Amazon.
I'll say this. I think it is absolutely insane that one of the holders of a proprietary walled garden ecosystem is out there claiming that Google and Apple and whoever else are stealing money. So we'll just
who's it? Are you referring to Facebook?
Sweeney, Tim Sweeney.
Sweeney. Oh,
yeah, Tim Sweeney is. Yeah,
a series of posts about essentially how Google and Apple and Facebook and everybody else are stealing money because he wants to have access to those markets. And it's just, somebody like me looks at that and says, "Come on, man."
It's very interesting. That's a spicy take by
Sweeney likes throwing that kind of shade, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
I'm just like, guy, you own Epic Games. The Epic Games Store, if anything, has proven how tenuous any tech company's hold on any market is at any time. So go away.
Go away.
Go away.
Go away. Go
That's a
away.
great
Just
point. I mean,
bring your
Epic's had
money
a
in.
big impact in the Epic Store at least. It's had a pretty significant impact in a short
in
period of time.
freaking no time. But you know, it
I
is
mean-
what it is. Look, I don't begrudge any corporate CEO from going out there and saying, "Hey, Congress, do you think you could potentially mandate that my competitors don't charge as much for the services they provide to me?" I get it. Okay, I get it. But don't come out there with that pretentious bullshit. It's late night, right? I can say that.
Yes, you can.
It's late night. You're
Hogue, I
good.
cannot. I fully expect a video in the next 2 days from you discussing this.
Oh,
and I can't
it's
wait to
coming.
listen to it.
It's
We'll
Yeah,
see. I
it's
might
coming.
just back down and do Ghost of Tsushima impressions. You never know.
Oh Lord.
All right. Hey, by the way, great segue. Speaking of Ghosts of Tsushima, by the way, who on the panels played this game? I mean, I have. I think everyone. Does everyone play this?
Is this Robert's Rules of Order?
Yes, I. Yep.
Cool.
Tony.
I think we all played it.
I got the plat on Sunday, man. Love that fucking game.
Oh,
Wow,
right.
Tony with the platinum already. All right.
That's
All
what's
right,
up.
guys. So I gotta say, and I'm playing this right now, and I gotta say, so real quick, so Sony came out and announced that the game, in its first 3 days, sold 2.4 million units.
Nice.
Amazing.
That's crazy for a new IP. That's insane.
Yeah, and this is a brand new IP, and I heard that number, and I was like, what? You know, if you look at what Last of Us 2 did back in June, it generated $4 million in the first 3 days, right?
4 million copies. Yeah.
4 million copies. I'm sorry, 4 million copies. You're right, 4 million copies, and that's an established franchise. Now you have Ghost of Tsushima with 2.4, a new IP.
Yeah.
And it's apparently it's I think this is the biggest for a new IP during the PS4
It would have
era.
to be. I mean, that number is insane for a brand new IP. I mean, I like to think it's just all closeted Sly Cooper fans, but it seems unlikely.
Black Cooper fan, right? But this game, I mean, I was wondering if there was going to be a little bit of Last of Us Part 2 hangover that might impact this game. That just hasn't happened. It didn't happen clearly with the 2.4 million sold.
Yeah, I got.
But I gotta
It was
say-
a refreshing palate cleanser from Last of Us Part 2 for me. But you know,
Yes.
we'll see how much I
Hope.
can offend your audience here.
No, Hogue, I was going to say that. Like, it was a nice change of pace. I loved, by the way, Last of Us Part 2 is probably my game of the generation.
Hey.
Generation.
More
Yes.
power to you. I
Interesting.
found it to be my most disappointing game of the year, so we can have that discussion at some
Yeah,
point.
Hogue, I think people were very upset with your takes.
Hey, that's okay.
I remember
Were my
that.
take shared in this space before? Okay.
Yeah, Hogue, I'm not gonna get to any specifics. I'm just gonna say half the game is the reason why I can't put it up there like everybody else is. Like, I felt half the game was just pure filler bullshit that I didn't need to deal with.
Yeah, well, and without spoilers, I think even if you like that part, pacing it the way they did, structuring it the way they did is just a major media faux pas. But you can check out Virtual Legality and the Hogue Law YouTube channel for more on that.
Yeah, there you go, man. Yo, by the way, I want to quickly say this. I find it interesting that every time I've talked about how Ghost of Tsushima is now my current game of the year, it was Final Fantasy VII before that. I get Last of Us 2 people jumping in my comments, hating on my comment. They're like, "What? Yeah, that's the better game. What are you talking about?" Like, they're both Sony games, though. Like, what is like? Do we have to like? Are the Sony fans just infighting with each other now?
Yes.
I was talking to one friend. I'm not going to name his name. He says that he feels that Last of Us 2 fans are insecure because they know that Ghost of Tsushima is the superior game and that it shouldn't be getting to shine. Or it shouldn't be taken away to shine away from Last of Us 2. So it's just kind of interesting how I've seen it happen to me and I've seen it happen to others. Like, they just comment, "Hey, this game's great." If you guys see my Twitter, I'm posting pictures everywhere. The game is fucking gorgeous. And then you have these people, "Oh, but the Last of Us 2 is better." I'm like, all right. Okay.
Well, so here's the thing, right? Like, so Last of Us 2 fans, I think even the ones that adore it know that it is at least divisive with a portion of the fan base.
Mhm.
And I don't think that Ghost of Tsushima or Tsushima has that same kind of divisiveness, certainly not to the bone.
No,
that
it's
you
more
saw with
powerful.
Last
Absolutely
of Us Part
not,
2.
for sure.
So I think
No,
it's got a
definitely not.
generalized higher level of, even the low point for Ghost of Tsushima is like, it's okay. It's bland, or I don't like it that much, but I can see how it gets there. And if you're like me on Last of Us Part 2, it's like, here are the reasons the narrative is not good, 100 different ways. Enjoy my 2 hours of video. And Ghost of Tsushima is, I think I tweeted out, I'm only through the first part of the island, but that it's unless it completely falls down before it hits the finish line, it's angling for my game of the year as well.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, it gets better.
That's what I hear,
I was going to say that.
Glad to hear it.
By the time I reached because there's 3 acts altogether, right? When I reached the end of Act 1, I was like, "This is the game of the year already." Just at the end of Act 1. When I got to the end of Act 2, I'm like, "That's it. This is the fucking shit." And obviously, when I beat, I'm like, "Yep, this is the game right now." Wow. And again, like here's the thing: the game is a crowd pleaser, right? I know some people balk at that, like because people
say, blockbuster,
yeah, exactly. And here's the thing: there's nothing wrong with that, Some people are saying, "Oh, it doesn't have any great aspirations. It doesn't do this." Who gives a fuck? It's fun. It doesn't make you want to kill yourself.
This is your Last Jedi argument versus your whatever you want to be, Infinity War,
Iron
Man.
Last Jedi was trash, by the way. I'm not gonna into that movie. Was so bad. I don't fuck with Star Wars anymore. I'm like, these people are ruining the franchise. I'm fucking done. I didn't even bother with the last movie that came out, whatever the fuck it was called. I didn't bother. I'm like, Last Jedi was so repugnant. I'm like, no, I'm done. These people clearly don't like Star Wars. They hate the fan base. Fuck this shit.
I keep it in.
The last one was actually even worse.
Oh, by the way, it felt so good saying that because I can't even go on Twitter and say this shit without a bunch of Last Jedi fans getting down my fucking ass trying to get me fired or something.
I think I was called the Nazi once for my Last Jedi take. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't. No, I'm commenting on the Star Wars thing. I can't understand how they didn't give that franchise to Kevin Feige.
There's so much that I don't understand about any of that.
Because watching the Mandalorian Disney gallery
Jon
archive,
Favreau was doing his thing from what I heard, man. Yeah,
Favreau put together like the Avengers to work on the Mandalorian, right? But sitting and listening to Feige explain, he actually made the Phantom Menace better by the way he explained how big
Filoni.
Jewel of the Fates.
Dave Filoni.
Yeah,
not Kevin Feige.
Dave Filoni. What I'm trying to say is Dave Filoni should be the Kevin Feige of the Star Wars universe.
I got it. He loves it. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, like he understands it on a level that most people. I'm like, he can explain it to a point where you're just like, wow, that makes sense, right? So anyway, but I was gonna say, Tony, I saw like some of that Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima thing, and I'm like, it's fine if people want to say what's a better game, right? But at the same time, I'm like, they're so wildly different. How are you even?
They are different. Yeah.
How are you getting there?
Here's the thing. I think you could say, I think you could say you enjoyed one more than the other.
Right.
But you're right. Direct comparison is not exactly right because they're very different. But I could say, hey, I enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima more. Although I can respect what Last of Us 2 was trying to do, I don't think they pulled it off well. But it's also one of those things. You also got to be objective. Even though I didn't like the story of that game, I still feel it is objectively Naughty Dog's best game in terms of gameplay. Because the set pieces were top notch. They were insane. You
like that better than Uncharted 2?
No, Uncharted 2. Here's the thing. Again, you said that which one did I like better, right? Uncharted 2 I like better. But this is a better game than I'm being objective, so better game than Uncharted 2. Gameplay wise, not narrative. Gameplay wise, the stealth, the combat, all that shit was legit. But no, Uncharted 2 will always be my personal favorite. But I'm just trying to be objective about it. But I think
it's the prettiest game ever made. I just wish it was in service of a story worth telling.
Yeah, no, that's the problem. The story is what kills the whole thing. It's specifically forcing people to play as a character we don't want to play as, but we're not going to get into that.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that. No, but it's still, I mean, just, you guys are mentioning Ghost of Tsushima, potential game of the year. I could see, I would agree with that, that idea that this game could be game of the year, which is actually, because, Metacritic wise, I think it's at 83 Metacritic. And I think one of the things that, was if there was any criticisms of the games that it doesn't really do anything different from an open world design perspective, but I could see that, but I think the combat in this game is super satisfying. It does get better as you get along, like some of the tools you have and the different combat.
Here's the thing. This goes back to the whole people saying, "Oh, it doesn't do anything innovative." Like here's the thing. And I'm not making an excuse for it. I'm just being honest. Few things out there are actually innovative, right? So I don't think that's a good measurement. It should be more about how well does it do what it's trying to do. And as an open world game, Tsushima does everything expertly. That's I know it's not a real word, but it's like everything. It does things so, and it doesn't throw a filler at you, man. Like I love Assassin's Creed games, but Odyssey was ridiculously long, man.
It was too long.
Yo,
watch yourself. I love Odyssey.
No, I loved it too. But here's the thing with that game, you know why I got the platinum in that? Because getting the platinum was faster to do that than get 100% in every island. I need it out. I'm like, I need to, because I can't just drop a game. I need to finish it. But I'm like,
I need out.
Yeah, I'm like, I need out. What's my out? Oh, that platinum. Oh shit, I only got a couple. I'm getting this platinum. I'm getting the fuck out of here. You know. But
yeah, I could come back to Odyssey when I'm 70 and I'd still have stuff to do. I love that game.
Yeah, no, it's too much. But Ghost of Tsushima, it left me wanting more, and that's how a game should be. Instead of a game you feel like it just sucked your soul out. It's like, oh God, let me go already. You know, but
I would say even the side missions with Ghost of Tsushima
they're so good.
Some of the best.
Oh, I love those title cards. What a nice touch.
The Witcher 3. I mean, title cards are great, but I think I would put Ghost of Tsushima's side missions on par with the Witcher 3 because they like with Witcher 3, Geralt's side missions were satisfying because they tied it to what he does as a Witcher, right? Killing beasts and stuff like that. Yeah. Where it goes to Tsushima is kind of the same thing, where it's taking out Mongols or helping someone, taking out bandits. It ties in, those side missions tie into the actual character, where it doesn't feel like you're deviating too much from who the character is. It doesn't make it feel like some unnecessary fetch quest, right? So that's kind of been the one thing that I've really enjoyed about Ghost. But I do want to get to Super Chat real quick. Cypher Poetic X Initiative with the $4.99 Super Chat says, agreed, game of the year indeed. Would love to see a Wu-Tang versus Shaolin game done the same way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see here. Slowbo, Forte, B Money. Eric, you guys have any more comments or any thoughts on Ghosts before we wrap up the Ghost topic?
I wish I would have played it more than I have so far. I only got like 2 hours in because I got distracted by Rogue Company, and
yes,
that's been all I've been playing since then. So yeah, but I mean, like from what I have played, I was really enjoying it. I love the premise. I love the style of everything, of the character. All that stuff is awesome, and I need to get back to it because there's so many people talking about like all the side missions and how you can just get lost in it. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of need that right now. I kind of need something like that. I gotta
It's a pleasant place to be.
I gotta put down Rogue Company because Rogue Company is
no, you don't. Embrace
embrace it,
man.
It's a drug.
Who did that? Is that High Res?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, High Res and First Watch Games.
First Watch Games.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, I'm gonna have to check this game out. You guys keep talking about
right
it.
now. You're injecting crack into your veins.
The fact that I made
crack, don't you?
Look, I don't know what the ages are here, but in general, if you ask me to Twitch shoot at somebody, it's going to go really poorly. So I usually don't hang on to those games too long.
Yeah,
I don't know.
This might be an ignorant question because I saw some people talking about it. Is this like a Star Wars game? I don't know about. What is this?
Oh Lord,
what is this? Like some multiplayer joint?
Yeah, it's like a class shooter, right?
Yeah, it's like a hero shooter that has a little bit of elements with CS:GO, elements of Overwatch, elements of Valorant, but it's balanced way better than some of those games are. Like for it to have elements of CS:GO, but yet still have like special abilities for each individual rogue character in the game. And it's still, aside from Scourge, there's one character that's a little bit OP. They're going to nerf her, but outside of her, everything else is pretty balanced. And it seems like there's always one character that resonates with everyone that plays the game. They're just like, you know what, I don't know, this game's okay, but I like this one character. I like this ability. I like playing this character, and the gunplay is tight, so it works. I like it. I'm a kind of addicted. I always have to have a multiplayer game.
So
you lost me a hero shooter. I'm like, no thanks. I'm good.
Lord. So when it comes to Ghost for me, I told Slow-Mo yesterday, it might have been the day before yesterday. I actually went out because I was trying to find a way to spend this $25 Amazon gift card that I got for my birthday that I just been sitting on. And I was like, well, I guess I'll put that towards Ghost of Tsushima. So I bought it on Amazon and put the rest of the money on my PlayStation account to buy it. And then I woke up this morning and I watched Mr. Hoglaw's video that he put out, and it kind of made me reconsider every purchase I do on PlayStation for the rest of this generation when it comes to their games. So I'm like, is this game going to be playable on the next system, or should I just wait? I was like, literally,
I'm gonna get a note from these people now.
Listen, man,
console manufacturers.
Listen, no lie. I literally put that in my account yesterday, and I was like, well, I'm not going to play it tonight. So for some reason, I didn't buy it last night. And I was doing my video for Evolve today, and I was listening to your video as I was doing it. And I was like, that's a really good point. I was like, maybe I don't want to buy this game right now. And it's not that I don't want to play the game, because I do, but it's just like with Microsoft. Like, I didn't go out and buy the Elite Series 2 controller until Microsoft said it was going to be playable, usable on the next system, because at a certain point, I'm like, I'm not about to spend $180 on a controller that can't be used on the next system. And I kind of feel the same way about games. So it's like, yeah, as much as I can get, and I got too many games to play. Slow-Mo been telling me, other than making videos and stuff, play games, play some other games other than Destiny. And I have way too many games to be playing. So I'm like, if I miss Ghost of Tsushima now, is it going to be less impactful if I play it when the PlayStation 5 comes out?
It's going to be your new Spider-Man.
It's utterly fantastic. I mean,
you're right. You're right. But that's it. But I ain't gonna lie, man. Your video, as I was editing this video, I was listening to you talk, and I was like, oh God, I can't buy this game right now.
Fair enough. I'll get an email from Sony. Stop talking.
Stop talking, Hogue. We got a super chat from Glorious War. $2 super chat says, shout out to Tony, sub to the Throwdown podcast.
Man, that's my dude right there, man. And by the way, I'm going to tie this all into Ghost of Tsushima, right? So we recently had a contest over on Throwdown, my podcast, where we gave away a copy of Ghost of Tsushima, and he was the one that sponsored it.
Nice.
Oh, nice. My man right there, he sponsored it. And he told me, he's like, listen, I want to do this because Throwdown gives me thousands of hours of entertainment. I want to give back to you guys and the community. Awesome. So thank you, Glorious War, for that, man. That was amazing. And I want to give a shout out to Jolly Yellow, who actually won the contest. You know, he was very happy with his copy, you know, and also got to give a shout out. Also, shout out to Gamer Tag Radio, because I was on their show a couple weeks ago, right? With me and Danny, we were talking. Paris was there too. And Yellow, he's a fan of the Gamer Tag Radio. He was like, hey, let me check out this Throwdown show. He started checking us out, and because of that, you know, he won a free game. So it's cool how all these communities all converge and come together, man. So shout out to all the people, man. It's awesome. I love that shit.
That is awesome, man. Yeah, we actually gave away a copy of Ghost as well to somebody in the chat right after release, and actually it was Usman B. I don't know if he's in the live chat. But he lives in Canada, so shipped him out the copy to Canada, and he got it. Yeah, so yeah, that's awesome, man. That's great. You know, it's nice. You know, when the community gets together like that, and you know, the giveaways are always a plus too. And by the way, shameless plug, we're going to be doing a giveaway, surprise giveaway to someone in the live chat. I have a code that I'm going to drop in the live chat at some point this evening. So, Usman B's right there. There he is. What's up, Usman? So,
what game is it? Do we know?
It's not a game. Well, it could be a game. It could be something else. Who knows? But it's a code. It's a code.
It is a code, though.
It is a code. Last week we gave away a $25 Xbox Live code. And I think Wraith got it. Yeah, he got it. So yeah, so we'll be dropping that here shortly. But yeah, guys, a great conversation with regards to Ghost of Tsushima. Obviously, I think there's going to be a sequel to this game. I can't even imagine what it's going to look like on the PlayStation 5. I mean, Sucker Punch has done a phenomenal job with this game. To do new Sony, let me tell you, Sony's got some exciting things coming to the PlayStation 5 with some of the new IPs they dropped this console gen. But actually, real quick, guys, before we wrap up Ghost, I do want to ask the panel this last question. In terms of new IPs from Sony, where would you guys rank Ghost of Tsushima? I'll go with Tony first.
Oh, you mean for this gen?
For this gen, yeah, for the PlayStation 4.
All right, what do we have? So we have that.
What's the list? Detroit, Days Gone,
Detroit, Days Gone, Horizon, right?
Yep.
Oh shit. Ooh.
Can we throw Bloodborne in there? Right?
Yeah, we can throw
Yeah,
Bloodborne in there. Damn. Yo, how you gonna hit us with this fucking question, man? Out of nowhere. Like,
if I was
we're gonna
gonna
think about this shit. Death
Stranding?
That's
Stranding,
Damn, Sony's been killing it this fucking generation.
How about Spider-Man? Can we throw Spider-Man? Even though Spider-Man's been done before?
Yes, we can. I'm gonna say yes. Because this is Insomniac Spider-Man, you know?
Okay. All right.
Shit. This is tough. This is tough.
Well, I know I don't have a lot of time in the game, but the more games y'all mentioned, the lower I started putting Ghosts down the list. I mean, come on, Bloodborne, Spider-Man. Oh man, like it's gotta be like 3 or 4.
I need to actually come back to you with this one. I guess this is a good question. I don't know.
There's so many games. You know? All right, let's get back to Tony.
I'll tell you that Ghost of Tsushima is better than Horizon because I didn't even finish that game because it was so boring.
Yeah, I got it better than Horizon, better than Detroit.
It's definitely better than Detroit, and I didn't even play Ghost yet.
Probably better than Days Gone.
It's better than Days Gone. It's better.
Well, I love Days Gone, so it's.
I did too, but it's better than Days Gone.
Tilt for who's speaking, but yeah.
Is it better than the Walking Simulator though?
Which one's the walk? Oh, Death Stranding. No, Death Stranding will be my number 1 on PlayStation's list. So
nice.
Okay.
There it is.
Really? Okay.
Wait, hold up, man. You're also the same person that said something about Mass Effect on this show last time.
Oh, we're not going there.
Yeah.
This all makes sense.
Survive this tangent.
This all makes sense.
No, we're not going to revisit Mass Effect with Ho because last time he was here, the panel erupted.
You got God of War.
I mean, the chat erupted along with it.
What? It's a simple statement. I like all the Mass Effects. It's just Mass Effect.
Stop right there. Stop right there. Ho. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm telling you, if you finish that sentence, it is going to be war. So it's just
that's one of those, it's that that's like a Last of Us Part 2. I would not begrudge anybody that hates it completely, but it really worked for me. I found it to be completely resonant, and I'm always in the mood for a variety. A new model, a new design, and I think he pulled it off. And I thought it was really good.
Yep.
Andromeda, that trash ass game.
Which
Are you talking about Death Stranding, Tony?
No. You're talking like Andromeda.
Oh, Andromeda, yeah. Okay.
You're circling back around. Yeah. So my order would be probably 1, then Andromeda, then 3, then 2. Yeah.
All right.
Wait, one is your. Well, hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. Did you say Mass Effect 1 is your favorite?
I see. I knew this. I tried.
I knew it was gonna happen.
All right, that's interesting because Mass Effect 1. By the way, Mass Effect 1, great story, horrible gameplay. Like,
absolutely.
Trash.
I don't put an RPG for the gameplay, man. I've been clicking on attack for 40 years.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but attacking that game was laggy.
Yeah, that game, like it was
right, but it didn't finish with fighting a giant human skeleton in a mission that didn't matter and was just a segue between 1 and 3. So it is what it is.
All right. Okay.
By the way, I have my answer. I have my top 3.
I just have fun with it. I like Mass Effect as a series. This is the most popular topic of conversation for my guest appearances on podcasts. It's very amusing to me.
That's awesome. So here's my top 3 for PlayStation of this generation. So number 1, Horizon Zero Dawn. It has robot dinosaurs. That's all you need to know, right? 2,
excellent faces.
Here's the controversial, even though the game literally just came out a week ago. Yeah, I'm gonna say Ghost of Tsushima is the second best one.
Yeah.
And number 3, Bloodborne, because Bloodborne is fucking insane. So good. And here's the funny thing about Bloodborne and Ghost of Tsushima. You got to really learn how to play those games, man, like combat-wise, especially Bloodborne. Bloodborne's like, yo, you ain't getting far unless you master this shit. It didn't give a fuck. It got me into the Soul series. I never really, because I played Demon Souls back in the day. I'm like, I'm not playing this shit. This is too fucking hard. The way I see it, I'm like, I already paid my dues during the Nintendo era playing these hard ass games. I don't need to play this anymore.
My dues.
Oh crap! Glorious War brought up Astrobot. That might be my number 1.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to P-Buddy, man. Where would you rank Ghost, man?
It's definitely in my top 3. But see, I got 4 in my top 3 because there's a 1A and 1B for me. Because Spider-Man and Bloodborne are top for me as my favorite new IPs, and then it's Ghosts, and then Horizon. So that's kind of where I had it laid out.
All right, let's go to Eric Jackson.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Because if you actually pull it up and you start looking down the list, there's games that you actually forgot about. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you can even throw you got Until Dawn in there, which was fantastic.
I was just about to say that. Like, no one mentioned Until Dawn. That's on my list. But go ahead.
But if we're gonna bring it like top 3, does Ghost rank in there? Ghost will be. It's hard for me to rank it because I haven't finished it yet. I like to finish a game and then see kind of where it falls for me. But if it continues on, if it continues on the way it's going, and from what Tony and I've seen other people say, it could fall in that high rank. But in my top 3, I got God of War, I have Spider-Man, and I might go with Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Lots of good pick. I like Lost Legacy.
You know?
Yeah. I liked it better than 4.
And I haven't played Days Gone or Detroit yet. So
I thought we were just doing new IP though.
We were.
I didn't know. I didn't even hear Enrique say that. He just said
squeezing in those Uncharted references. It's all right.
Okay, so we're gonna do new IP. Then I'll say Bloodborne, Spider-Man. Oh man! Damn you, Enrique, playing these Saw games, man. Horizon Zero Dawn.
All right, solid list. What about you, Forte? You can't throw Destiny in there, Forte.
Oh, it was a launch title. I mean,
last gen.
It was last gen. Oh man. Oh Jesus Christ. Horizon's in my top 3. It just wasn't. It just didn't hold me long enough because of a game called Breath of the Wild, and I couldn't go back and play another game after I played it. Once I played Breath of the Wild, everything in Horizon just seemed pointless. So I was like, I can't. So
Forte right now, it's interesting. I'm the opposite. I to me, Horizon ruined Breath of the Wild. I'm like, because I played Horizon first, then Breath of the Wild came out. Like, this is fucking bullshit compared to Horizon.
Really?
You know? Yeah, and I kind of just forced myself to finish it as fast as possible. Like, it was not an enjoyable game.
Yeah, I was the opposite. I literally forced myself to go back to Horizon after playing Breath of the Wild. I was like, Lord have mercy.
Okay, your Horizon slanders that are like about 8 right now.
No, dude, I'm buying Horizon.
Yeah, we're gonna need you to calm down.
because I actually am buying it on PC on August 7th.
Nice.
We going in.
Are you buying it, or did you already buy it? Because you know it's already available to be pre-purchased.
Oh, I know that, but I'm not about to just give them my money day one just because I can.
That's right. No interest-free loans.
Right, exactly. No, I did that one time I did that for Bungie already. I'm not doing it again.
All right, I don't know if you actually going to play this for.
Yeah, that sounds a little suspect.
All right, you know what? While this show is going on, I'm about to go to the Epic. I'm about to go to the Steam store because you know I gotta prove people wrong.
I don't mean you gonna play it, man. You can buy it all you want.
Oh no, if I spend $50 on this game, I'm playing it.
Yeah, right.
I did put 30 hours into that game the first time around and just didn't want to look. The only reason I did because I was actually feeling the game a lot. I liked the game a lot, but then Breath of the Wild came out and that took precedence, and I was like, I gotta go play because Zelda's like my favorite over on Nintendo IP of all time. So I had to drop that to go play it. And after you play Breath of the Wild for over 100 hours, it's kind of hard to go back to playing something else in an open world situation. I had to.
I played both Forte and loved them equally.
No, what? Okay, go ahead. I'll let you have that. So that game.
Forte, go ahead, man. What you like? Go
so
ahead.
that game's number 3. That game would be number 3.
Okay.
Number 2.
Talk about Breath of the Wild so highly, but I'm going ahead. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Number 2 would be Resogun because I absolutely love Resogun.
Interesting.
Interesting pick.
Love Resogun, bro.
Resogun's fire, man.
I put hundreds of hours in Resogun. Like, granted, it was like one of the only games that was available really on the PlayStation when it first came out. But it was amazing. I love that game, and I would put Ghost up there, but I didn't play it because it does look, and that kind of game speaks to me a lot just because of the feudal Japan setting. And I love games like Tenshu and stuff like that, but I can't put it up because I haven't played it yet. So I would have to put Detroit Become Human up there because that game surprised the hell out of me. I didn't think it was going to be as fun as it actually ended up being. And on top of that, I like watching my daughter go through and make the mistakes that I made or not make the mistakes I did because she's super into that game and she's been playing it a lot too.
All right, awesome. Slow-mo.
Okay, this is gonna be a little different.
Spider-Man's number 1.
It is. Spider-Man's number 1. Number 2, even though I'm saying number 2 not because I played it, because I haven't played it, because I kind of don't do From Software games, but off of its impact and how the overall gaming community treated it, I would say number 2 is Bloodborne.
No, you can't do that.
Why can't I do that?
No, you can't do that because the reason I ended up picking games that I picked is because I didn't play other games. If you just are you trying to save yourself from slander in the chat? That's what it basically is. Because guess what? I guarantee you, some person is in the chat somebody in the chat right now is probably saying Forte picked Resogun. Is he serious? No, I picked Resogun because it's a game I actually played, not because it was, So I'm talking about the game that you play. You didn't play Bloodborne, sir. So pick a game that you played.
Wow.
Was that the question?
Yes. What was the best game that came to you? What was it? What was the question, Enrique?
The question is, I mean, I would top 3. Games that you played. First,
okay,
exactly.
New first party.
Well, I don't know. I think the rules just changed. I'm going to side with Slow-mo on this.
You can't be making up rules on the fly, man.
Exactly.
Maybe I wasn't clear then. All right, Slow-mo, just pick whatever you want then. We'll just do that.
No, don't. Oh, you're giving them an out.
Forte, let the man pick.
Me an out. I can
look. Forte, it's a free country. He could do.
Are you
sure about that?
Dishes?
For now, yeah.
I'm about to say, are you sure about that? I don't know if it's a free country anymore.
Go ahead, Slow-mo.
It's clearly not a free panel. I mean, the way I'm reading right now. Read me filth. I mean, good. Okay, look. Bloodborne number 2 based off of how the community received it. Look, I say that because look, it's the same way if someone did say, hey, do a list of like the very best sports games. Like, I don't play sports games no more, but I know what games the people in the sports community.
You excuse yourself from that conversation. That's what you do.
Yeah, like but I know who is like which games are like the basketball games. Live is trash. 2K is good. Like you
that might be reversed now, sir, with the way that 2K is.
Hey, look, live.
Crazy. Don't even try to slander 2K like that.
I just wanted to say it to get a response from you, sir. That's all.
Anyway, look, I would say Bloodborne 2 based off of its impact. My number 3 is going to be Until Dawn, and that is a game I played, and it's also a game that I have probably gone back to the most out of all the other PlayStation exclusives that are a new IP on it. I really enjoyed that game, and also because how for once it was something that like even my wife could get into, and those experiences are things that you can't really like. It's not the same, you know.
How many times did you reset your game at the right point when you died to a Wendigo?
I plead the 5th.
Is Until Dawn Super Master's best game?
Oh, yeah, Until Dawn is definitely their best game. Absolutely.
Oh, it's easily their best game.
Yeah, I would agree with
their
that.
best game.
Yeah.
And I would say number 4 is actually Gravity Rush. I don't know if I can say that or not. I know
Gravity Rush is actually surprisingly
a good game, man. Yeah,
really good game.
Very good one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed
both.
Gravity Rush.
Yeah, both of them were dope games.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
And 2, I really probably like 2 more than 1, but you know,
better.
Yeah,
but the one was
does
a
that
Vita
match
port.
our new IP requirement since it was a
Yeah,
Vita game?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
But I'll take that over him not playing Bloodborne.
Okay.
All right. So that's liked it.
I don't know, man, but it's like what Tony said. When you start to like lay it out, you're like, damn, man, Sony was on one this generation.
Look, man, that's why everybody says Sony sold PS5s early in the generation. It's for real.
Yeah. All right.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to go with my top 3 list real quick. I'm going to go with Bloodborne number 1 because that game is just wow.
Fire.
2, Ghost, and then 3, I'm going to go with Death Stranding because that was just such a different experience in a good way for me. It just wow, yeah.
I'm
So
taking
that's-
4 slots, Enrique. I'm putting Death Stranding in there. I'm taking 4.
All right, all right, cool. 4. All right, so I do want to get to the next topic. Revolves around Game Pass. Just every time there's some kind of Xbox event, there's always this debate about Game Pass, right? Is it making money? Is it is it the best value in gaming? Why are people not praising Game Pass enough, or why are people worried whether or not it's making money and things like that? And it's and we're having that conversation again right now, mostly on the Twitters, and some other gaming forums I've seen, but mostly on social media. This is something that's come up a bit. And I know, Tony, you have some thoughts on Game Pass. Hogue, last time we had you here, you gave us some really interesting insight into Game Pass. I think Game Pass is, if you look at the services in the console space, Game Pass is probably the best in terms of the value proposition. But I've also seen something where people are like, oh, if you don't think Game Pass has value, you're crazy. Well, it may not be value to everyone, just like Netflix isn't value to everyone. But that doesn't mean that this service doesn't present value to consumers who are interested in signing up for this service. Because again, it presents tremendous value. But I think there's some great things going on with Game Pass right now, but I also think it's fair to ask some questions, potentially. Maybe we know what the pros are, but are there potential cons with something like Game Pass? Something that's come up more recently in conversation I've heard from other podcasts. I actually did a podcast with on Crossfire last Friday, and they were talking about kind of the I guess one of the cons, if you will, with Game Pass. Is it going to be a situation where we see maybe more quantity than quality? Something Spawnwave. If you guys are familiar with Spawnwave or the Spawncast, Spawnwave brought that up recently in one of his more recent videos, mentioning, well, what if Microsoft's got to crank out games? We know that these quality big AAA bangers don't happen in 2 years, right? They take anywhere in the case of The Last of Us Part 2, 7 years. Does Microsoft have that luxury with having to support a service like Game Pass? Do they have the luxury to make those kinds of games? Or are they going to be looking at taking a majority of their content or titles, like with Halo Infinite, making it games as a service, putting it in there like they did with what's the God? Why am I not remembering the damn pirate game?
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves, thank you. Where Sea of Thieves released, and it was criticized for not having a lot of content. That's been much improved, but again, launched in Game Pass, did have a lot of content off the bat. You look at something like the Master Chief Collection, launched in Game Pass, still has some issues.
Had some issues, yes.
Yeah, it still has some issues. But I think those are legitimate questions. Like, it's just, look, and no one's debating the value proposition here. I think it's phenomenal. I think everyone on the panel would agree with that. But I also think there's a healthy conversation or debate to have here of some potential cons of the service. Like, is it going to be a situation where, maybe Microsoft says, hey, we could put a game in that's maybe not complete. We can add content to it later on. And no one's really going to blink an eye, because at the end of the day, they're getting 300 games. They're getting all these games, not for free. You're paying for the service, obviously, but you're getting all this content. So there's other stuff for them to play. And, maybe the optics or the eyes won't be on this particular game that we released that's maybe not finished, because Game Pass offers all these other games for someone to play for free. So that being said, and then you were going to say something, Forte? Go ahead, man.
No, I was going to. No, I get what you're saying, and like the last analogy you just made is about how many games they can actually put in there. But like I said, they always try to garner this as something like how Netflix does their stuff. And the thing with Netflix is they have way more misses than they have successes.
A lot of crap.
The successes just stand out a lot. That's the biggest thing. When you have something like Stranger Things come out and it literally just turns the whole website on its head, then people pay attention.
Right.
And then the same thing when you had something before, my man decided to do some crazy stuff. House of Cards was amazing, and that was like another thing that they garnered. Then they started garnering all these different movies. Like if you go watch like the movie The Old Guard that just came out on there, dude, that movie's phenomenal. I was like,
that's
dude,
on my list. I haven't got to it yet.
That movie
I
is
heard that was pretty good.
Movie, they literally set it up for a second one. It's like that movie is freaking phenomenal. But like, guess what? But when you scroll through Netflix, when you're just trying to find something to find, 90% of the time you're gonna be like, this is trash.
I don't know. Netflix tells me they're all 98% matches for me. Are you sure?
Yeah, well, they might. I don't know what.
That's great. Yeah.
Netflix is. I don't know what their algorithm is.
Yeah, what algorithm are they using?
Oh, they fake it completely. Come on.
Yeah, they fake it completely. But my thing is with Game Pass is only going to be as good as the third party. It's just like a system. Your system is really only as good as the third-party media you get on it. The reason the Wii U didn't do as well is because third-party was like, this is trash. We're not supporting this. We don't care how strong your first party is. We're not going to put stuff on here. And the Wii U died. It literally died because of that. Now, fast forward to the Switch. A lot of developers jumped in day one. They reaped the rewards of it. The only ones that really haven't jumped in 100% is EA, and they're starting to jump in on the bandwagon a little bit. But they're seeing growth in that system because third party is pushing the envelope, and you can start getting some of those same games you can get on other systems, even knowing they're in a lower quality. You're getting them on that system, so people are willing to pick it up just for first party and some of those select third party games. If Game Pass at least gives you a game a month, or at least a game every other month that is like knock your socks off, something that you would never expect to be in there, then it would be perfectly fine because their first party hasn't matured enough to really push the envelope when it comes to Game Pass as a service for themselves. They still have probably another year to another year and a half, probably 2 years until that happens when you start seeing these other major games coming out. That's why I think you're going to see them really ramp up with a lot of acquisitions of games to be in there. Like Destiny is literally their bet for this holiday because Halo came out. You would think Halo's it, but Destiny is a huge gift for them with that, all the DLC and everything. I didn't expect, but I did expect that because I actually said it, but I don't think a lot of people expected that. And that's going to make people pay attention to Game Pass if they were thinking about playing that game. Like, hey, why would I pay $70 for this and I can just get it in Game Pass and pay $15 and get access to these other games? So third party is going to push the envelope while first party gets caught up. But Microsoft does need to find a way to mature that ecosystem faster than anything, because people will drop out if they start seeing dwoes for months and months on end.
Yeah, well, real quick, Forte. That's a great point. But I want to go to Hogue and Tony on this because I also want to, kind of wrap in the question: is Game Pass, the future of gaming and where gaming is ultimately going to go? I think Hogue, you're about to chime in. Go ahead, man.
Well, yeah, I was going to chime in on a couple things. One, I think the strongest value proposition on Game Pass is if you already have a certain amount of affinity for indies. Game Pass has been putting out 3 decent or weird or things that you wouldn't otherwise buy like a week. And I've been thoroughly enjoying just bouncing into whatever random crap they put up there. And I found some gems. And that's a lot of fun for somebody like me who's just not going to buy every random indie game. So I think Game Pass's maximum value proposition is somebody that likes those kinds of things anyway. I want to talk about the money question a little bit. This might wind up being a virtual legality episode at some point because I've been percolating on it. But, they come out and say, don't worry about us. Don't worry about whether we're making money. And I don't think that's entirely fair from Microsoft, because I agree that you shouldn't care whether the corporation is making a lot of revenue or whether they're otherwise unhappy or happy with it in the long term, because you can't control these things. But in the short term, especially tech companies, your Microsofts, your Googles, your everybody else, they have shown time and time again that if they aren't happy, if they aren't getting the revenue, the ROI that they want to realize out of this product or service, they'll ditch them. The big problem with adoption of Google Stadia is that Google has a history of ditching whatever it is that they lose faith in. Xbox is one generation removed from putting a Kinect in every box, and where is it now? And so I do think people are right to look at it and say, whether they're watching Virtual Legality or watching the last version of this podcast that I was on, and say, that the economics is a point. Microsoft has to thread a needle here. with how much they're putting in, both in their first party to make the games and in what their payouts are to third parties. Because if one or the other, especially in a third party conversation, aren't making money that they're satisfied with, that they wish they didn't do it, either direction, then you could have a problem with the population of that particular service. So you're depending on Microsoft to make these right calls. And then even if they make the right calls and they realize a 8% return or a 9% return, and their board thinks it should have been 17 or they were pitched 25, then you have a potential issue there, because essentially Microsoft is hanging its hat entirely on the notion that they want to be a recurring revenue company, and we don't care about the box. And we're going to talk about messaging in a second. I know on the agenda, we don't care whether you buy the box. And if that fails, if that falters, I mean, who knows what the future of Microsoft is, because this is a gambit from them. And do I think it's the future of gaming? I think in some broad sense, especially the American cultural experience, is this kind of buffet pop culture, your Netflix, your Hulu, whatever. And more people like that value of going to the buffet and paying in advance and getting some minor games. But I think that the fundamental issue that was pretty evident in the showcase last week is that you do have an open question now about whether Microsoft will just put out an okay Halo and put it in Game Pass to say that they did, or just put out an okay game from any one of their other studios, or get a mid-range game just to put content in there and say, look, this would have cost you $40, but we never would have bought it for that. And you look at the same kind of situation with like your app arcades, where the people were essentially forced, by all indications, to not sell their games for less than price X, so that the app arcade value looked like it was still a very, very good one. And those prices were essentially the fake ones that you see discount 80% at the local department store. And so that's going to be a continuing question. And I do think it's all right to, as a fan of Microsoft or Sony, if you want to talk about PlayStation Now or anyone else, to say, are you pulling this off? And with a company as big as Microsoft, that consolidates their financials into just games and services, we have no idea exactly what is happening behind the scenes there. And we certainly don't know exactly what's happening with the third parties and whether they're getting paid in an amount that they are ultimately satisfied with. There's a lot of little indies that are like, okay, great, we got this money in the door, we can feed our families. But in terms of that mid-range, do you feel like it was good? Do you feel like it was bad? That takes about 5 years to suss out when those people don't return to sign back up for whatever Microsoft's deal terms were. And if they have to increase those, then maybe Microsoft gets despondent about it as well.
Yeah. You know, Hogue, the one thing I'll mention too with regard to Game Pass, and we had Matt Piscatello on from MPD. He mentioned this, that
did you? He and I have fights on Twitter.
Yeah. Matt was on. Matt said that, they third-party developers, the one thing they've seen with dropping their game into Game Pass, and this is obviously after, retail release, they've hit that maturation point in the market, that they've noticed an increase in sales after putting their, so there's some benefit there. They get for third parties, they get like a second breath of air or breath of life.
Like I said, so there's and Matt's a big believer in this, and I don't blame him. You've got some of those numbers out there, and certainly you look at something like Sea of Thieves, which is the number one game on Steam for like 2 months. And you go, what is happening there? Game Pass is apparently some kind of marketing billboard, essentially, because so many people can get it, and then so many people can put it on Twitch or wherever, that you're having this kind of funnel of popularity, which I think is ultimately potentially going to be the Microsoft driver and everybody else's driver in the video game industry. The problem that you have with that is that there's only a certain type of game that really does that really makes that trip, that kind of sandboxy, anything can happen, oh, this is so fun to stream type game, versus your Last of Us, your Ghost of Tsushima, or whatever. Not that those aren't good to stream as well, but linear narrative games don't have that same kind of pull. So you run the risk of having that happen as well. And I go back to App Arcade, where if you're following that, you see Apple starting to say, we're cutting off the developers that are just making kind of single player experiences. We need to have higher engagement. And everybody that was worried about that App Arcade being essentially a games as a service kind of front for microtransactions are starting to be vindicated, because Apple's moving in that direction. And so there is a great deal of concern, I think, not entirely justified, because obviously we don't know the future, but at least partially justified, that says, well, if Microsoft starts emphasizing you need heavy engagement at the start, you need to be able to monetize it in this way, and telling their parties to do it, and potentially third parties see that, you've got something that winds up becoming something that isn't as valuable as it looks right now. And I agree. I think it's very, very valuable. Now, to be 100% honest in terms of disclosure, I'm still on the $1 Ultimate deal from last E3. So it's definitely worth $1 for 3 years or whatever. So I'm still liking that, but it's an open question. I think everybody that's concerned about it is justified in doing so. And Matt is right that you're seeing these kinds of bounces, but we're still too far out from seeing whether that ultimately justifies what's happening. And if Microsoft winds up not making what they think they should, I don't believe in them to follow through with it long term if they aren't otherwise happy, and we just can't tell, period.
Yeah, but what about the impact of xCloud though? Because xCloud is going to be, go hand in hand with Game Pass.
Yeah, xCloud is free, right?
Yeah, I mean that potentially opens up maybe a broader market, broader consumer base for Microsoft to generate more subscriptions. Like now you're tapping into people that can play mobile, assuming that you're going to get those gamers.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they're going after. And I think they have a possibility of doing it. To me, the driver then is their third party, because I'm just being honest here. For me personally, their first party hasn't been up to snuff for a decade. So you look at what their third party can bring, and if you can get on Game Pass Ultimate Red Dead Redemption 2, and then you can send it to your phone or your tablet or wherever, you've got a stew going. But the question is whether Rockstar is just dipping its toes in and otherwise is just kind of fooling around. And you don't know any of that yet. And I think there's a possibility that they are, but it always depends on that contract. And if Rockstar is getting a big percentage and Microsoft is giving it to them and they're happy, they're still in the mode where I characterize it as the Disney Plus mode. I don't know how many of you have Disney Plus right now, but it's cheap, right? Yeah. It's $5, it's $6, whatever. And I think I jokingly tweeted out when they put out this price last year, I said, I love it when the platforms have to try to go get customers because the prices are ridiculous. And the economics don't make sense. They're all loss leaders. They're all getting people in the door. Like I said, I'm on Ultimate for 3 years for $1, not $1 a month, $1 period. And that was to get me in the door, to get me liking the process, to talk about it with you all on podcasts like this one. And I like the value proposition. And if it stayed exactly the same when my term ended, I would probably re-up. But that is the goal right now, is to get as many bodies in the door as possible, to be able to show your board the engagement metrics of who is actually on the platform, who's using it, have all this big number to say, yes, board, we can turn this into real money in 2 years because we're gonna ratchet up the spigot. And the question is always whether or not that works. You look at something like Netflix, and it has worked so far. They have major increases in their rates. They have something like 30% increases in random years, and they only lose 2% of their viewership and things like that. And that's the model, but you don't know it until you try it. And that is going to be the next step. Game Pass doesn't stay at this price. I think you're already starting to see Microsoft kind of prepare the ground. I think you saw them get rid of Xbox Gold or Xbox Live.
Xbox Gold, for the year,
They're prepping for, we're going to do one thing. We're going to put that all under one number. You're not going to think about it because, wow, the value. But the number itself is going to be pretty large, and we're going to increment that as we go, because ultimately that's our business model here, because we've never been as successful at selling boxes as Nintendo or Sony, with rare exception, the 360, the most notable among them. And we're going to try to make this a new business model, but that is, I will guarantee it, with this right now, the setup being a loss leader, and ultimately with a goal to increase to a higher profit margin.
When you just said that, I know we were all kicking around a couple weeks ago when they did get rid of the 12-month Gold membership card from the store. Yeah. And a lot of people took that as, well, are they getting rid of Xbox Live? But now when you think about it, since Xbox Live, even though they did say that this conference was going to be mostly just all games, no business, so we still don't really truly know what's going to happen with Xbox Live, how it's changing. Yeah. But knowing that they did get rid of that, they basically said, hey, we still have a 3-month option out there. And we know that's not the best value, because you got literally 12 months for almost just literally double the money. So by them eliminating the 12-month membership, because I still think they're going to convert people however long they have Xbox Live. If you convert Game Pass, they're going to convert you for the whole thing. They're not going to just convert you for 1 month. So
right, you saw that with the Ultimate deal. The reason that's exactly what happened, right? The $1 was for the lifetime of your Xbox Live. So I bought 3 years or whatever the max was. And then I paid the $1. So they can do that. They can combine them. I think that's
and that's why I think that that could be maybe they're not getting rid of Xbox Live. Maybe they're just getting rid of the spigot that allows you to get a vast amount of Xbox Live up front for a cheaper price and saying, hey, we're going to lose way more money if we give people 12 months of Xbox Live and then basically convert it over to Game Pass for $1, however much it's going to be, versus if you want to get a year worth of Xbox Live now through the store, you're paying $24.99 for every 3 months, meaning you're paying literally what? You're paying close to, you're paying more money for it now.
Well, I think
So
this entire generation is likely to be the loss leader generation for them, and they're going to try to get people in the door. They're probably going to combine Live and Ultimate, or at bare minimum Game Pass, and have a couple of tiers of pricing like your Netflix, whether you buy HD or not, and make it something that is approachable and easy, and probably go back to that model where they're selling an Xbox at the same time, like a cell phone, with the price of the service and the box, and get bodies in the door. What they want to report on their financial statements is the number of people that are signed up. That's what they want.
Yeah, that's true. Real quick, I want to go to Tony. Tony, man, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I got a couple of things I want to say about and I'm going to answer, the ultimate question is if it's the future a little bit later, just at the end of all this. So here's the thing, right? Because, obviously we've had a lot of talk about Game Pass, and I started really thinking more about it. Alana Pierce, she used to work for IGN. She put out this video about 15 minutes long, right? Shortly after the Xbox Game Showcase. And the crux of the video was, why don't people talk more about Game Pass than they should be? Because in her eyes, she's like, you get all these games for $15 a month. It's a great deal. No one's talking about it. How come no one gives a fuck, right? And then I went around and I asked, like, why don't people care about this thing? And I asked myself that question, right? I was like, Tony, why don't you care about Xbox Game Pass, right? And then I asked myself even further, I'm like, if this was on PlayStation, Tony, would you like it better? And I was like, no, not really. Then I realized I'm a little bit of a special case here, right? And I'm not saying this as a brag, by the way, this is just the reality of it. Most games, by the way, I bought maybe 2 games in the last 5 years. I get most games given.
Oh, you're just like me. Got it.
No, because the company send me games, I review them, right? So and I usually get the big games. I don't really fuck around with indie games. I don't care about that shit. I get the big games. I fuck that stuff. I can't waste my time with that trash. But
this is worse than the Mass Effect.
Damn, Tony,
by the way, I need to say this. This is why I love being a guest on other people's podcasts. When I'm on my podcast, I have to show a little bit of semblance of like professionalism. On this podcast, I'll say whatever the fuck I want. It's so liberating, fuck all that indie stuff. But anyway, now I'm losing my train of thought. But anyway, so I was thinking about, okay, so it's not that. So yeah, I get all these games. So I'm like, okay. And by the way, you guys are gonna laugh at this. I checked because after all this talk, let me get on Game Pass real quick. Let me actually sub to it. It's only $1, right? And I've had it before. Turns out that subscription never ended. I had it this entire fucking time, never touched it, right? But the reason for that is because I get so many games sent to me. I'm not really playing for pleasure a lot of time. This year's obviously different because of the fucking Rona and everything. But so I'm like, okay, so it's not for me, a gaming journalist, because I have access to all these games anyway, right? So who is Xbox Game Pass for? It's really for people who are gaming on a budget, right? There's a lot of people out there obviously like that, and people who may not play games day one, and by the way, this also goes for PlayStation Now. Every time they have, like, here are the games we're giving away this month. Usually it's either I don't give a shit about this game or I've already got the platinum in this, that's usually how it is. So I'm like you guys too, we play our games day one, so, and I do realize that Xbox Game Pass gives you access to, games on day one, but generally speaking, like
First party, yeah.
Red, like, remember when Red Dead 2 was on Game Pass? Like, yeah, that's nice. I beat that shit 2 years ago. Who cares? So that's where I'm coming at it from. But when I asked the question, I had people replying, and a lot of the replies were, I want to own my own games. I don't want this. I don't want them to pull it away at any time. Even though others explained to them, like, hey, they give you a month in advance notice when a game is being pulled. You could buy it, get a discount, but people still like ownership of the games, even if they're digital, right? So I understand that. And then there's also the question of devaluing games. And I'm talking about both monetarily. I'm talking about actual money and in the face of a gamer, right? Actually, no, not even the face of a gamer, face of a human. This is just human nature, right? If you give somebody something cheap or free, they're not going to value it as much as something you had to like go out and buy. Remember back in the, and I'm an old man, so I could talk about this shit. Back in the day, right? You used to go to the game store, buy this big ass box Super Nintendo game, $70. Yes, we used to pay $70 for games back in the day, people. You know, and you take the shit home. You're on the bus, you're reading the manual, colors, and everything. It was valuable, right? But now, you know, that's there's worth in that. But if you have all these games, 300 games just available to all the time, you're not really going to care about it. As a matter of fact, I just thought about this right now. Like back, okay, when I was growing up, again, I would only get maybe 1 or 2 games a year. I would appreciate the fuck out of those games, right? But by the time, my sister had, kids and stuff, my niece and nephew over, I had all these games for them. They didn't give a fuck about the games. They played them for a couple of minutes here and there, and they just kept bouncing around. You know, they didn't really value them the way I would have, you know? So I can understand the devaluing of the games there. That's a pretty good thing. And then going off of that, and Hogue, I'm so glad you said this. No one talks about how much money do these companies lose on Game Pass. I understand that they get money from Microsoft up front. I understand they get some money when downloads happen, but how much money do they actually make off these downloads? Like some people said, it's like Spotify. It's like those bands don't make a lot of money off of Spotify. You know, it's like, so how much are these devs making? And I know there's some developers out there who have said like, hey, because of Game Pass, we got our games out there to a broader audience. We've made more money. That's great. But it still seems to me that developers would actually make more money selling individual games than being on Game Pass, you know? So that's something that no one talks about, probably because, most consumers don't think about the companies that bring these games to them. And I can understand that, but I'm like, you need to watch where the money's going, because if, like, for example, like, oh, I don't care if this game's successful or not, I liked it. Oh, that's great, because it wasn't successful. You ain't getting no fucking sequel now, so you need to kind of watch that stuff, and people don't really talk about that. But yeah, it is kind of interesting how there's still a general apathy towards Game Pass. And I'm wondering, like, besides those points I already brought up, is it just like old gamer mentality? Again, like I'm used to getting a single game, playing that game, and then moving on to another one instead of having like a piecemeal thing, So that's that. And then you guys brought up too the quality of these games. Yo, I'm being real right now, son. If
I like that, son. That's when it's serious.
Yeah, he's getting real. He's getting real.
If Halo Infinite is an indicator of what we're gonna be getting on Game Pass, nah, man, you can't be having that shit, And I'm gonna keep it extra real right now. Oh, you're gonna call me a pony for this, Enrique? They're gonna call me a pony for this, bro. I'm just being real right now. One of the reasons Game Pass isn't blowing up the way it should be is because Microsoft's first-party games are not as compelling as those offered by Nintendo and Sony. If Sony had Game Pass, no, fuck that. If Nintendo had Game Pass, that shit would blow the fuck up. And it would. Zelda, Mario, Donkey Kong, people would go fucking insane. They would go bananas, actually, pun intended there. They would lose their fucking minds. But Microsoft, what do they have? Halo, nobody gives a fuck about Halo anymore. Gears, nobody cares about that. Forza, maybe some people care about that. It's like the games are not compelling enough. Like, and then with the third-party joints, it's like, okay, that's great. I already played all these fucking games, so why do I care about this shit? Microsoft needs to do like a better job, and hopefully we'll see it now because they've acquired all these studios and all that. So hopefully we'll get some truly, I'm going to say it's Sony level games, from them. Like I'm looking at the new Hellblade. I'm like, this has the potential right there. That first Hellblade was fucking amazing. If they could take that same core gameplay and just take it to the next level, it'd be great. But you need to have a compelling lineup of games there, and it's not really there, So that's pretty much what I have to say about that. Game Pass for the future. Here's the thing. And again, even though, and I'm not saying Game Pass is bad, I'm just saying it's not really for me, generally speaking. I do think the trajectory of where things are going, not only will things like Game Pass, be the future, game streaming will be the future too. I know some people may not like to hear that. I don't want that either. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted.
Anytime soon, though, Tony.
No.
I think we're probably a decade, maybe longer.
Think about it like this, though. I know. By the way, I'm not disagreeing with you. I completely agree. But think about it like this, right? We grew up getting our games one at a time, right? Well, let's say 20 years from now, right? You're, not 20 years, fuck that. 15 years from now, you're a kid. You're 15 years old, right? You're going to yourself, okay, I can either buy all these games individually or sign up to this shit where I can get every game for $10 a month. It's going to sound insane to you to buy games piecemeal, you know? So I think we're going to see the change happen when it becomes more commonplace with the younger generation. Old motherfuckers like us, I don't know if you're going to convince us, but like the younger generation, I'm pretty sure they're going to sign up because it makes more sense. And again,
I mean, Tony, it might not be for us. You brought up an interesting point about like how we used to do things. How we used to do things doesn't always fly. Like how our parents used to listen to music. They didn't have Spotify, you know, so this thing may be positioned not necessarily for us per se, but maybe for that future generation of who's consuming gaming differently than we did growing up.
I'll tell you this, Tony, if you're right, then you're going to start liking indies because they're going to be the only ones that are making the games you want.
If they start making better games, sure. But
no, that's how it works.
Tony, you might be regulated to indies, my brother, man.
Oh God, that'd be horrible. I'll have to pick up a different hobby then, if that's the case. You know. Listen, by the way, I should clarify. Here's the thing: I'm not going to say there's something wrong with video games, but here's the thing, and I'm going to equate this with movies. Right? When I go to a movie, I'm not paying to see people talk for 2 hours. I want to see some fucking action. I want to see special effects. I want to see money thrown at me, right? And I'm the same way with games. I want to play the most high budget shit possible. I want to know that they put money into the shit. I want the biggest actors, writers. I want all that shit, you know. And then you have some indie games. It's like
God, gaming could use writers.
Yeah, well, please bring in some writers, you know. But with indie games, again, I was, you know, I was amping it up a little bit, but it's like. I do play my fair share because obviously I have to review them, but it's like they're cool, but it's like a little snack you forget about, you know. It's like, okay, that's great. Now we play a real game, you know.
Damn,
wow, man, let's play a real game.
When I talk about Mass Effect 2,
yeah. Yeah, pretty much, man. Hey, listen.
Oh my goodness.
Just keeping it real. By the way, shout out to the chat, man. They all like my rant over there.
Yeah, they did. Hey, real quick, big shout out to BitCloud Gaming with the $10 super chat. Says, kill these frogs, Tony. Let them know, bro.
Shout out to BitCloud Gamer, man. We talk on Twitter. That's a good motherfucker, man. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, good dude, man. Yeah, big shout out to
yo. By the way, yeah, everybody in chat, man, get your hit, smash like, throw money at Brap, man. Let's go.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. No, there's some interesting points. I mean, you know, and I want to open up to the panel, let you know what you guys, you know, think on about Game Pass. So please, you know, feel free to chime in. But I'm at the, I think, look, again, great value. I think from the business aspect, like you said, Hogue, there's probably still a lot of question marks. I'm sure they'll figure it out, whatever that is. You know, this thing is probably geared towards, you know, I think from a consumer standpoint, probably geared towards a different group of gamer than me, you know, than the guy that's used to getting his collector's editions of The Last of Us Part 2. And look, I still think Sony's going to go that way. Sony is, I think, pivoting too. I don't know if Sony's going to go, you know, balls to the wall with it, you know, this coming generation. But I think PlayStation Now is going to be more of a focal point. It already is. I mean, they started adding some more games. I think they had, God, what was the recent Remedy game? Control. That made its way to PlayStation Now, and they started putting first party in there. So I think even Sony, I mean, they're not aggressively going at it the way Microsoft is, but I think Sony is pivoting that direction too. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how far they go with it. But I don't know. What do you guys think? B, what are your thoughts on this, man?
You know, like you know, some other guys were saying, I think, you know, Game Pass shows a tremendous value to a particular gamer. You know what I mean? Like I jumped in with the whole dollar thing, and I've got my Game Pass through 2022, and you know what I mean, I jump in there and play games every now and again, but for the most part I buy all my games day one, like the games that I'm interested in. So like when games, you know, hit the service like Red Dead and GTA and things like that, like it's not a big deal to me, and it's not a reason for me to return to the service and jump in there and play those games. So you know, I think it speaks to a certain consumer, and that's probably the reason why, you know, a lot of people aren't out there screaming about it. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't speak to everyone. Of course, you get an abundance of games or a buffet of games, like Hogue said, but you know, everybody doesn't go to the buffet. You know, and that's just kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, that's a great point. Eric, what are your thoughts, man?
I mean, I'll ring the same bell. Nobody here is saying that it's not a great value, but that also doesn't mean that you shouldn't have like questions about, what that long term may be. Because, and I'll just use this as the example again, like Hope was saying earlier, if people saw the Halo trailer and they were blown away by it, that's great. Things hit different for everybody. But to me personally,
not a real Halo fan, Eric.
I mean, I keep jumping on the Halo thing because I love Halo. And I'm used to Halo kind of jumping out. I know, like Tony said, like Halo doesn't hit the same way it used to, right? But does that also mean that Microsoft has to kind of go about it that way? Because everyone keeps saying it's like their number one franchise, but they didn't really treat it like that last week. There was a time where when Halo was announced and it dropped, they would not have done that unless it was on point.
Right.
It's a little bit of
well said, man.
It'll go into Game Pass and it'll get fixed and people will be okay with it because they're only paying the $15 a month or whatever, and we have the time like Sea of Thieves.
The game is only that bad. It's because they gave it to a second-rate citizen. That's who's running that's who's running that franchise right now. That's why it's bad.
But the thing is, it's like these are questions need to be asked, and it seems like it's bad. It's like I get this notion that people feel like if you have anything to say about Game Pass, you're automatically hating on it. You're not understanding it, and it's like people need you to like it. And I don't understand that notion. It's like if you feel it's on point and you're loving it, Godspeed, go with it, but it doesn't mean that it's a one size fits all thing. Some people have questions about it. No one has a definitive answer about what the long-term effects will be. Back to what Hope was saying, there's questions that need answering or not need answering, but that's still
time will only tell, right? I mean,
time will only tell. Right. So it's kind of interesting. I'm hearing like Enrique say it and Tony say it. And it's like, maybe it's not for us, but at the same time, I'm seeing age-old gamers who are now acting like what was even at the beginning of the generation is all of a sudden terrible. Man, we were getting flim-flammed and slammed all around all these years, and it's like, stop it.
Yeah, they acting wild out there.
You're letting your preference for something.
Miles Morales is paywalled.
You're letting it move into your judgment. I mean, we all kind of do that. We all have our preferences, our biases, whatever the case may be. That's fine. But somebody needs to ask the questions because some people don't want to do that. They just want to go with whatever the new narrative is, whatever the new philosophy is. And it's like a lot of you cats didn't arrive here by yourselves.
Well, new narrative is interesting. I know we're going to get to it, but I had a number of people respond to my videos this past couple of days with Microsoft did not change its messaging after Thursday. And I can only say,
I saw your tweet. I was like, yeah, that's kind of weird. It's like,
wow, I don't know what to say about that.
You're wrong. They didn't change their messaging. It's like, okay, hey, look, you do you, but
But the
These are probably the same people that, like, when you say that Phil Spencer has contradicted himself multiple times over the past 2 or 3 years, they say no, he hasn't. But then you can actually bring up the quotes where he is saying the exact opposite of what he used to say. And I always bring it up. It always comes down to this: they're going to say whatever they need to say in the moment to sell you their product, period.
It's such short-term thinking, though, and it always winds up kicking their ass. It bugs the crap out of me because I'm constantly I know I'm a corporate lawyer. I just do contracts and business stuff, but people ask me on all sorts of things related to their companies, and I'm used to dealing with marketing plans. And it's like, Microsoft, you're one of the biggest companies in the world, and I really did, honestly, until last Thursday, think that they were nailing it. I thought that the last year was focused. Yes, it had this recurring revenue concept, but they were going in a direction that I could understand. Yeah. It's the brute force box. It's the one that you want if you don't want to think about it. We don't have to sell you on weird architecture or power consumption management. It's just going to be strong, and we're going to show you some strength.
Hey,
12 teraflops.
Hogue, real quick, can we just park that thought for just a second?
I jumped the gun.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on, because I thought this is a very interesting topic. I love the videos you put out. But Slobo, go ahead, finish what you were going to say, man, about or Eric. I forget who's talking now. Was it you, Eric?
By the way, quick. I want to give I'm sorry about this. A quick shout out to my man OBJ, the Don, man. That dude right there is my favorite YouTuber. You got to put out more videos, man. love this dude's shit, man. It's amazing. You know, you think I keep it real? This motherfucker keeps it 2,000% real. I love that shit. Shout out to you, brother.
I think the funniest thing I saw OBJ say, he called somebody a mud rat. I'm like, what's a mud rat?
Oh man.
Anyway, no, I was going to say the value proposition is, it's a value, but again, just because you're sub, it's like, a lot of us here have subs like, Disney Plus and Netflix or whatever, but it's only as valuable as what you're going to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? You can sit there and have the subscription and you don't touch it for 2 months. Is that still a value? But somebody will buy 2K and play that every day for the 7. Well, I was about to say 60, but $70, and they'll play that day in, day out till the next one comes out. So, values in the whole is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, that's true, man. I mean,
but, in regards to Game Pass, the games that are in Game Pass, the only people who really see the value in them are people who already bought them for the most part, right? So outside of the games that are going to be in their day and date, like the first party games and whatever third party developer they can convince to or pay up enough upfront money to do day and date, those other games, as Tony said, I already played that. I played that 2 years ago. Like when Red Dead 2 showed up, and I'm like, wow, they got Red Dead 2 for the small amount of people who were somewhat interested in that game and didn't play it. That's a great boon. That's a great boon for them. But everyone else has already bought the game, played it, and already uninstalled it. So, if it seems like it would be a great value to the casual gamer, the gamer that doesn't buy all the games that the hardcore gamer buys. But if the casual gamer wanted those games, guess what they would do? They just would have bought them day one the way the hardcore gamer did. They don't care about that. Like I've talked to my casual gaming friends in my day-to-day life. I'm like, hey, like they got Xboxes. Hey, you got Game Pass? What's that? That's the first thing they say, what's that? I explained to them what it is, and they like, really? I'm like, yeah, look, just look. All those games are there. Oh, okay. All right. They don't care. They don't care because they're not going to play.
I was going to ask you, is the next question, does it have Madden 2K?
Nope. Don't got those games. All right. Well, they do not care.
Only.
Yeah, like they don't care about those games. They made I had one of them signed up. I remember he was like, I saw something on my Xbox at Game Pass. I saw some games that I signed up for it. He did it for 1 month and he was done. He played a couple of games and he was like, yeah, I'm just not feeling it. And I'm like, if you're someone who hadn't played those games before, you would just look at the list and be like, that's an incredible value. But when I look at the list, I'm like, I have a lot of these games. I see good games in the list, and I either already own it and played it and uninstalled it, or I own it and I don't feel like playing it, and so I'm not gonna. So it's just, it seems like the only way I feel like it's going to really succeed is if we go to like the whole Netflix analogy of having like a Stranger Things level IP property that draws people in, where people stay for like those killer games that only you have. There's no other way to get it but through that. But there's not going to be, of course you're going to be able to just buy the game. And it's just, it doesn't seem like that's really going to be something that is going to end up working out. But also, it doesn't seem like something that Microsoft is ever going to give up on, at least not for the next 4 or 5 years. Because if they are really talking that talk about they want this consistent content dropping on a monthly basis, you're not going to get close to that with the number of studios you already have. You're going to have to purchase more. They said they're going to purchase more. And then you're also going to need to convince more third parties to launch day and date in your platform. And I just don't think a lot of third parties are going to do that. And then two, like you're not going to be able to see that number of games coming from your first party to get in there as well as second party anytime soon. So how long I know Aaron Greenberg said, don't worry about our pockets, but I'm like, but how long y'all going to really support this without the payoff coming? And how many years are you going to keep doing this? It's just, it's a relevant question.
Yeah, it definitely is. What Hoke said earlier, these companies are for-profit companies. There may be a certain breaking point where they say, nah, we we've seen Microsoft and not just Microsoft, but other companies like I think Hogue mentioned Google. We see them, go, balls to the wall with these products or services, and then all of a sudden, we're not going to do it now because it's not, behind the scenes, maybe it's not as profitable. Or they're not hitting the numbers that were promised to the shareholders. Like Hogue, I forget the example you gave.
A Google Glass.
Google does it all the
we're
time.
watching Stadia right now. I mean, there's any number of examples.
Man, their Nexus phone program was fantastic. They had like great devices in there for very affordable prices.
They did.
And they were like, we're done with that.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's what they do. I mean, I'll say one corollary that came up when Slow-Mo was talking here is that I don't know how many people think like me, but I know that third-party developers have to think about this mindset as well. I've had Game Pass for a little while now, and one of the things that happens, especially for about a $40 AA game, in my head, is I probably shouldn't purchase that. That feels like Game Pass game to me. I'm looking right now. Game came out, I think it was yesterday, called Other Side, which looks very cool to me. Want to try it out. $40, tactical strategy game. And I said to my brother before I started this podcast, I said, oh, that feels like a Game Pass game to me. Mm-hmm. And it's like you don't want it to come on Game Pass the month after you buy it if it's 60 days later or what have you. So I am finding myself stall on purchasing those kinds of mid-range games that Tony would never, ever play a day in his life, but that could be available on Game Pass.
Unless I had to for work.
And that's something I brought up a long time ago when we talked about this. Where like those mid-level games, they got to make a choice.
They feel like Game Pass.
Yeah.
Or not even the mid-level. B, you said Doom Eternal. You like, I'm gonna hold off because they chill. I'm gonna wait.
That could hit. And you think about it, and it's more than just Microsoft and these third parties or Sony and their third parties or anybody else. You think about kind of, again, going back to like Apple and mobile, the degradation in just the value understanding of what an app is worth and what the market is willing to pay for it. You start to have these Game Pass services take off and maybe PlayStation Now. And does that ultimately lower the market's assumption of what a game should cost? And if it does, and if it starts to really articulate that over a long period of time, do developers just on the whole say, you know what, we don't want to support these things because we're not able to sell our game at $40 because people think, A, they're going to go to Game Pass, or I'm paying $15. I think your game is really worth $15. Like we see on the App Store, which is like, good luck selling something for more than $3 because that's just not what an app costs, no matter what money you put into it.
Yeah, see, like I heard that, like how they're convincing or what was going on in these negotiations with these developers when they get their games to Game Pass is that they sit down and they say that, like, all right, what do you think you're going to sell within, say, like, let's say you wanted a game in for 60 days, 2 months. Yeah. What are your projections of what you're going to sell in 2 months? We'll give you that up front. You put your game in our service, and then everything else, the residual that comes from people deciding to purchase it on discount or whatever, you get that too.
Yeah,
and
that's the Epic Games model. We know that they play. Yeah. We know that they pay forward royalties on a arrears basis that are paid back essentially as the money comes in, and then the split happens after that. I don't know that I've seen that with respect to the Xbox contracts. It should be something like that, especially if you've got a skittish client, a skittish party. But I don't know. And certainly you can regret it. You go to the conversation that Remedy and Control had about Epic. When they went to an Epic exclusive, they got just a huge amount of money. And Remedy was like, yeah, it was an easy call for us. And that's fine until Epic decides to stop paying those premiums, decides to stop kind of attacking the market the way it is. And then maybe the market is good. Maybe everybody's happy with how things wound up. Maybe they aren't. And that's why you look at these things holistically and say, I'm in favor of competition. I'm glad Epic's out there making Steam think. But certainly just having billions of Fortnite money floating around doing whatever isn't going to last forever.
Yeah. I mean, like, it seems like every time I buy something on the Epic Game Store, they're giving me a $10 coupon off in addition to
I love Lost Leader.
Free games every week. Like we used to talk about games with gold and PS Plus free games. Epic is giving you a free game. Every week, and some of them are like legit games. Like, wait a minute, this was a AAA game. Like a couple, you're like, what? They're just giving them to you. No questions asked. That Fortnite money is long. I don't know how long it's going to be. With Epic trying to get that that foothold in the PC gaming market. But in regards to Game Pass, what I was going to say was, I think there are times where the developers are like developers and Xbox can't come to a number. Like they say, like, hey, look, we think we're gonna sell 2 million in the next 2 months, and Xbox is like, I don't think so, bro. Like, you're gonna sell probably about 200K, and then they just can't come to a number.
Sure.
But then to kind of be Money's point, they could be trying to leverage themselves to say, hey, almost like they know that if this is a mid-sized AAA developer, they're not a big, they know they're not going to, they don't have a dedicated fan base of gamers that are going to purchase their game day one.
It's like Plague's Tale. Yeah,
exactly. That you could be like, hey, just by our service being what it is, a lot of people are going to look at your game and say, no, and we'll wait for Game Pass. So you might as well just jump in Game Pass right away. I think that could end up being, could really negatively, adversely affect relationships with developers if that is what's ends up happening, in the back rooms and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. I guarantee you the conversation, at least in part, is, oh, well, we don't think you're going to make that much, but we're willing to give you this right now. And here's our user base on Game Pass. And let me tell you this, regardless of whether you sign up with Game Pass for your second game, your sequel to this game is going to have a much bigger profile than it would have if you didn't join with us. So what do you say? You want to sign right here?
Yeah, so very interesting a comment in the live chat. One Bad Mother says, and we're interested to get your thoughts on this one, Hogue. Paradigm shifting, market disrupting business opportunities are treated different than mature ones. They bail if they don't gain engagement and growth. It's a financial loss for now. That's known.
Yeah, so, I grew up doing venture capital law. And if you're not familiar with that, that's a lot of money being put into things that haven't been proven. And you hope as a business that you're going to get a huge payday on that kind of thing because it's so risky. And when you're a venture capital investor, like these companies really are, when you're talking about research and development opportunities like a Game Pass or a paradigm shift for what their business model is, moving from straight hardware and software to this kind of recurring games as a service model, you say to your board or you say to whomever, look, we think this is going to have just a ridiculous return because in your R&D, you're putting 10 of these projects together and 9 of them are going to fail. And the 10th needs to pay for the other 9. That's how venture capital investment works. That's how high level paradigm shifting research and development at the corporate level works. So it does mean that when you look at I think Google has a website that somebody maintains that shows the graveyard of Google products. You can go and you can look at 600 of them because 2 of them worked and 20 of them didn't in any given year. And so that's normal. But it means that when you're consumer facing right now and Microsoft, I think the thing people forget is that Microsoft is not a game company. Gaming is a hugely small part of their overall picture and what they do and how they make money. And so if one day the CEO decided to say, you know what, we've tried it for, 20 years, let's stop, then they would stop and they wouldn't think about it. And their market capitalization wouldn't really change and they would move in a different direction. So yeah, that comment is right. You are evaluating high risk investment very, very, very differently than the small modification to what you've always been doing. Sony has different calculations for the PlayStation 5 because as much as they talk about architecture changing and Mark Cerny is put up there to talk about magic sauce or whatever it is, they are still selling the same product. They're selling a walled garden. They're putting all this money into making first-party, single-player, third-person action adventures. I hope you like post-apocalypses, and they're going to continue on the road that they are currently on. Microsoft is saying, screw that. We're losing that fight. We're going to do something else, and it means high risk, high reward. And they might well get the high reward. Matt Piscatella thinks they're on the road to high reward. I think they might be, but they have to thread the needle, and I'm not in their back rooms. I don't know what kind of contracts they're negotiating. Yeah, I think I could probably do it, but I don't work for them. So it's a matter of whether or not they can succeed on threading that needle. And I think people are justified to say, I don't know. And especially after last Thursday where you say, well, if your entire model is on filling content into your Game Pass bucket, I'm not sure that bucket is that great. I mean, I'm looking forward to the gunk. I'm looking forward to Everwild. It would be nice if you had any idea what that game was.
You're really looking forward to the gunk?
Yeah, I love that's from the SteamWorld people. I love SteamWorld to death.
Okay.
Come on, man.
Look, I'm sorry. When I saw it, that looked like the worst thing I saw at the show.
Really?
Not working Bugsnax.
So maybe I'm on tilt in terms of like just trusting a developer. Really like the Steam World game.
Yeah, see, I'm giving them the benefits. It's the Steam World.
Yeah.
I hate the name. The gunk is like okay.
Terrible.
Yeah,
The name is almost as bad. Let me stop.
What's next?
Remember it though, and that's sometimes the most important piece of marketing.
Yeah. All right. So
I mean, it didn't show much of what the actual whole thing will be. But hey, if they're going to branch out from doing 2D games to trying to their hand at a 3D.
Yeah, 3D action game.
Yeah, I'll see what they're up to.
Yeah,
I will too.
Yeah. So, guys, I do want to transition to the last topic this evening. That was a great conversation regarding Game Pass, by the way. Microsoft and look, and Sony. So it's funny. Like Sony was criticized early in the year with not being very transparent with the PlayStation 5, and even their messaging. I think more revolved around Miles Morales after they showed that. Was not as consistent or tight as it probably could be. And there's been a lot of praise for Microsoft and the consistent messaging. I think Hoagie brought this up a little bit earlier in the show that they've had. I mean, they've had pretty consistent message with, putting gamers at the center of the experience, et cetera, having the most powerful console, the Xbox Series X. It eats monsters. We know about Game Pass. It's already here. And then it's like last Thursday happened. And well, actually, even before last Thursday, when Microsoft said they don't believe in console generations, and then they said, well, we're gonna walk that back a little bit. We're gonna say that we're leaving it up to at the discretion of our first party developers, which I think is great. You should absolutely leave it to the discretion of your internal first party. But then they basically said that the Series X was going to be defined by technology, which I thought was interesting. Matt Booty said that. So there has been a little bit of shift in their messaging, which I find interesting. And we know about Halo, the showing of Halo. I don't think that's helped. But Hogue, you had a great video on the messaging of Microsoft. You even put one out today, because people are going to say, "Oh, Hogue's a pony."
They did. I thought that was a surprise considering my 13-part series on Sony's DMCA abuses, but it is what it is.
Exactly, and your recent video on the the whole thing with Miles Morales and Sony's mixed messaging on that too.
People say what they say.
Yeah, but that video though with the Microsoft messaging, I thought was really interesting because you really laid it out well, where you were showing what they said in January, and then you would show what they said in March, and then all the way up to basically, last Thursday, more recently with some of this comments from Matt Booty. Yeah, so let's talk about that. So the messaging has been tight, I think, up until this point. What's changed though? And the baffling thing to me, and I said this, people were saying, "Oh, well, why would you expect them to show the power of the Series X?" Last Thursday was a game show, was a game showcase, and not an Xbox Series showcase. I'm like, but wait a minute, they're selling this new product. Right, they've been beating the drum of the most powerful console in the world, the fastest console, velocity architecture, 52 CUs, the most powerful GPU, 12 teraflops, but they didn't show that.
So they said it's the monster that eats monsters.
Yeah, and then they're saying that the console's not going to be defined by technology, and maybe that's a play to, hey, consoles are defined by games, which I would agree with that.
You don't want that fight if you're Microsoft.
You don't want that fight. So what's going? Because
wait. They said the console is defined by games.
No, they didn't say that.
Yeah, so they had an interview in the Telegraph. They had
Matt Booty.
They put out there, or it was the Guardian. I get my UK newspaper.
I think it was the Guardian. Yeah.
And he started saying essentially, I mean, it's not an unusual message. It's basically, if you're giving Microsoft the benefit of the doubt, it is, our box is so strong, our developers don't even need to think about it. We're going to let the story and the characters shine. But it was in the context of the Guardian actually asking a couple of questions that said, hey, nobody liked Halo. Is that a concern? And he elides the question. He doesn't answer it. And then he talks about this technology stuff. And this article finishes off, you never know what the place in the interview was, with this quote that basically says, well, load times are faster, but nobody's really going to care about that. It's the games. And there's a paraphrased paragraph that's about Game Pass. So it's clear that the talking points are all Game Pass oriented, and that's not a problem. We knew Microsoft was going to move in that direction. The main issue was, for the past at least 6 months, but I really think it's longer than that, there was essentially a two-pronged marketing attack that I thought was working very well. which was Game Pass. You're going to be able to get in. You're going to be out. We're going to treat you right. You're going to have smart delivery. We're going to have Game Pass. You don't need to worry about where you buy your games. The messaging you saw, I think, started in January was we're not even going to have generational exclusives for a couple years. All this good stuff. And then on top of that, we're going to sell you the Series X, the strongest, fastest, most powerful console ever. It slices, it dices, it makes julienne fries. You're going to be so happy with it. 12 teraflops of power. And I really do think that those messages are fine together. I thought they were very focused. I actually am on record with a tweet not 6 days before last Thursday's showcase when Phil Spencer put out a blog that had all those bullet points talking about all those things where I said, this is good, strong, focused messaging. Sony has failed at that. Sony has failed at that this entire time, but they're blessed with the quality of their enemies, as it turns out right now. And they go forward on Thursday. And the basic thing that you had to do, if you're Microsoft and those are your messages, you can sell Game Pass. And they did. They sold Game Pass. Game Pass was in the corner of every single video. That's great. You have to have one crown jewel. Oh, my God. There's 12 teraflops. I can't believe what this looks like. Killzone, Shadowfall, Rise type moment. And everybody and their brother expected it to be Halo Infinite. That's why you saw people essentially squeeing on social media about a 60-second animated title screen thing on Twitter. And everybody thought it would be that, not because people were assuming, but because Microsoft mentioned Halo Infinite in every single post about the power of the Series X. Going back at least to January, I didn't go back further than that for purposes of my video. And then they come out, Halo Infinite gets the reception that it does, and I can only describe it as feeling like they were blindsided. And I don't know why. I don't know why Microsoft marketing doesn't look at that and say, well, you know, it's an open world. We're getting you to 60 frames per second in 4K. We need to soft pedal this. They should have been working on this for the last 2 months, which is like, Halo is going to be something different. We're not really focused on just detail on your guns, and don't worry about all the brutes looking like they're plastic G.I. Joes. It's 60 frames. And you should be prepping the ground for that. They weren't. And so what you got was this kind of slam cut on Thursday. Immediately, you get quotes from Chris Lee going to IGN. You get a couple of water-carrying journalists with respect to how Halo looks and how it's okay over the weekend. You get the immediate tribalism of everything. And then on Monday, that interview comes out, which is the reason I did my video on it, where they say all that stuff about technology. And I went out and said, you know, this is a sea change. This is a completely different Microsoft from 8 days ago because they are abandoning the power concept. They don't want to sell you the Series X as a powerful console right now. And the reason for that isn't because it isn't powerful. I think you can look at, there's no reason why that box isn't going to be strong. It's that they can't show it. That 343, who they put all their eggs in that basket, is incapable of showing off the Series X. That game might
drop the ball.
I have no idea. But they can't show it off. And so what they really need, and I think in all honesty, the lack of E3 2020 hurt them because we would have expected to see more of something like Valhalla on a Series X, which would look more impressive. You throw some ray tracing at it, you do some stuff, and they would have gotten the benefit of maybe the new Call of Duty looking shiny on a Series X. And they just don't have the horses internally. And so I did a video on this. And then that night, that same day that this interview went out, and this is really why I decided to do the video, was Phil Spencer retweeted an article from The Verge that says Xbox Game Pass is Microsoft's true next generation system by Tom Warren. And the entire article is about how essentially the Series X hasn't proven itself. Microsoft hasn't made the pitch. They didn't prove anything with Halo. Halo looks like garbage. But yet the Game Pass is more important. And Phil Spencer himself retweeted that. And I said, look, folks, they are changing their messaging. Mm-hmm. And they got blindsided by Halo Infinite's reveal. And they cannot make the pitch. And one of the things I said in my video was, don't get me wrong. There are things to like about the showcase. Game Pass was correctly pitched, I think, during that showcase. But Absolutely. They are struggling with making the dual pitch. And they are trying to sell you not one product, but two. And they have not once been able to sell you a Series X.
Oh, real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you here, but
no, I could go
point.
Forever.
But I do have a question though, because Eric and I have talked about this.
Yeah,
and I think we mentioned this on Brap last week. It's almost like they're trying to appeal to everyone, like they're trying to be, what's that saying of Jack of all trades, a master of none?
Yeah.
You know, where Sony and Nintendo very different, very focused on what? Yes, Sony's obviously talking about PlayStation 5 a lot because they need to sell that, right?
Yeah.
But around everything
around that either, but
yeah, everything around PlayStation 5 though is Nintendo is very game focused, very game centric.
Oh yeah,
and I feel like
Nintendo is great at this.
But see, that's to me, that's like when you got a new product out, that's how you kind of rally that base, that hardcore crowd, right?
Yeah, you need one rise. I mean, you should be. There should have been the equivalent of the tech demos that you used to get in like the copy of the graphics card in the late 90s, where it doesn't do anything. It's a rise. It's a rise type game. You're on a turret and you're shooting alien ships, but oh my God, how does that look? You ray trace the shit out of it. You do all these things and you show that on your showcase, and it doesn't actually matter whether it's any good. It can be rise.
Imagine if they had if they had a demo like what Epic showed running on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, whatever. Rubber ducks. I don't care. But they didn't.
Look at the ray tracing on those rubber ducks.
No, seriously, you put a stained glass window in front of that bathtub, you got a stew. No,
what you're saying is absolutely right. I actually watched NVIDIA do a demo, and it was just like a marble on like some kind of maze. That's some demo that they put together. Yeah. And it was ray trace all over the place. It looked amazing. It was just
the
stupid marble.
Yeah, I remember.
But it looked amazing, and it's just like they made sure that was there to show you what they were talking about and to prove that say, hey, look, we have great technology coming out. We got ray tracing, we got machine learning, we got DLSS 2.0. It's amazing. Let me show you why it's amazing. Look at this stupid marble on this stupid maze. Look at that. And you, even though it's a stupid marble in the stupid maze, you're like, damn, that look good. That look real. And so when you talk about how amazing your games are going to look, and then when you finally are going to show something that's supposed to prove that, and it doesn't, you know, that's a tough pill to swallow. And
you reference Halo Infinite every single time you talk about 12 teraflops, and then we're all ready for it. And I remember actually watching the showcase on Thursday, and you just see a little bit of the outside as like you're seeing the pilot, they're setting up the scene. And my immediate reaction was, oh, that's not a looker. And, you know, you're waiting because maybe that's just loading in or whatever. And then they go out there and it's like, it could be a great game. But this is to show off why I need to give you $400 or $500 or $600, and mission failed. And you know your mission was failed. The reason I did the video was not because they're hiding it. They changed their messaging entirely in one day. And
they embraced the joke too.
Yeah,
well, gave him a name.
Tweeting the Gorilla Man.
Yeah, they gave him a name. His name's Craig. He's Craig the Brute now. You know,
I understand some of my comments to today's video now. So I did a video today talking about how PlayStation's screwing up its messaging with respect to Spider-Man, and I got a bunch of people calling me Craig. And this is the problem. Like I have those two videos in a row, right? And they can't decide whether I'm. Usually it's Xbot and a pony, I think.
So Hogue, which one are you? Are you an Xbot or a pony?
Yeah. See, I tell you, this is what I say. It's, you know what I want? I want good games, and if Xbox makes them, I'm all for it. And if Sony makes them, I'm thrilled.
Well, I honestly, I started thinking about it a little bit when I told the guys this. I think they started with this messaging way before, like not way before, but a couple weeks before we even got to the show, because I think some people saw some things that and I think Slow-Mo, you've mentioned that like the hands-off approach may be a detriment to them.
Yes, that whole limited integration strategy, which is great for veteran developers that don't need anyone telling them what to do. All they need is the funding to make good games like Obsidian, Ninja Theory, like, or even In Exile, as like the studio head for them used to be the CEO of Interplay. Like, these are people who've got like decades of experience in gaming, and they don't need some green Xbox producer telling them how to make their games. They're good.
Right.
But it's your 343s that are terribly managed, and they're like mostly contractors, and you don't even have those guys on for the next game after the previous game, and there's all kinds of terrible stuff going on in the workflow, and people can't get the job done, and the build's broken for over a month, and all kinds of other crap is going on. And this is one of your biggest IPs. Like, you can't be hands off in that situation when you got the wrong people in place running the studio. You need to get a little bit more hands on, the hell's going on in here?
Yeah.
Someone make a decision. If y'all don't make a decision, I'm gonna make a decision. That's the way it needs to be. You have to have some kind of level of quality control.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have that quality control. What you're funding is a really high priced turd, like a very expensive millions of dollars piece of trash. And it's like, that's not what people want, especially not from Halo, where, not everyone loves Halo anymore, but there's still a lot of Halo fans out there that expect a certain level of quality visually.
I wanted to love it, and I try to say that in my videos. I wanted to love it. I was ready. I was pumped.
You expected to because of the lineage, like
well, and because
what usually comes out when Halo was an event, even around Halo 5. After the fact, we were kind of like, oh, okay, that didn't hit the way it should. But leading up to Halo 5, it was fire.
Yeah, they got the TV show. It was a good show.
They were all in on it. But my point was going to be, I kind of feel like this messaging was being like laid down even before we got to this point when you did your video. It's like all of a sudden out of nowhere, Phil comes out and he says, we don't believe in generational exclusives. And it's sort of like, well, where did that message come from all of a sudden? Maybe. And I started thinking maybe it's because of what they saw before they went into this show. They kind of knew what they had on their hands.
Well, we first saw that not from Phil, but from one of their other presidents in January. That was the first time I saw that reference.
But that's also PR talk, though, too. Like, we have to, kind of look at this too. Like, obviously, Sony's strengths is their first party, which is why they're talking about, making a generational leap, starting from a clean slate, taking advantage of new hardware, building new gaming experience, things like that. Where Microsoft, look, their first party's not their forte per se, right? Or not their strength. So they're going to talk their strengths up like Sony is. And I think part of that is what they've been saying is, things like Game Pass for making gamers the center of the experience, and not necessarily, hey, we're trying to sell this new console because we're going to show you some amazing games from our first party studios, right? So I just think that it's, I guess the way I would sum it up again is just, this is Microsoft 2 focusing on their strengths, and their strengths right now is or services, Game Pass, Xbox Live, things like that, xCloud. They just don't have the pedigree yet that Nintendo and Sony have. So that's not gonna be the focal point. But again, it's still interesting that I think, like what you were saying, Eric, and what you were saying too, Hogue, is that Halo Infinite was tied with the Series X earlier in the year. Like, I had people saying, no, they never talked about the two being together, but they kind of were, right?
No, they referenced it every time.
Yeah, and it's been talked up as a launch. It's been talked up as a launch title.
Yeah, every time they brought it up, they said it was launching with the console. So how are those two not tied together?
Yeah, and that's the stuff that really irks me, because it's like you're making the console and its launch more important than making sure that the game is a quality game ready to go. If the game's not ready to go, sorry, it needs to be delayed past launch. Oh well. The only Halo game that was a launch title for Xbox was the first one. We're far down the line now. It doesn't need to be a launch game. What it needs to be is a complete quality game at launch that actually shows off how this amazing eats monsters for breakfast hardware. If it's not that, you delay it until it is that. And if you got people in place that can't make that happen, you kick them to the curb, you give them their severance, you say thank you, but goodbye, and you put someone in place that can actually get the job done. This is like I don't know if Bonnie is best buddies with these people, but like, you can still be friends later, but this is business. And in business, you have to deliver on your job. How long has it been since 343 has not delivered a full-fledged Halo game that people said that was a good Halo game? They've never done that yet. And all their games launch buggy as hell.
Yeah.
All their games launch buggy. So it's just like, yo, how many chances are you going to get?
Yeah. Slow-mo, they kind of put themselves, they've kind of courted themselves here because of that messaging of most powerful console over and over and over again, the 12 teraflops, the velocity architecture. I mean, we have, you see a lot of content creators talking about the power of the Xbox. they kind of put themselves in a corner. And I still believe this. Halo needs, because it's such it's so tied to Microsoft. This game needs to show off, be a showcase for the Series X. I mean, that's why, from what I understand, they're developing 2 different Halos. They designed a Halo specifically for the Series X, and they're designing a Halo for the lower level consoles. This game has to be a showpiece, or else I gotta be honest with you guys, it might be a rough start to the generation again for them. I'm not going to say it's 2013 all over again, because that was pretty bad, but I think it's going to be a little rocky for them, and Sony may be off to the races.
But the thing is too, is like, again, like we were talking about a little while ago, who are they like targeting? Who are they talking to? Right? Like they can say over and over again that, like, we don't see, Sony as competition or whatever the case may be. And that's fine. They may not. But who does? The general consumer.
That is more cap. I'm sorry, Eve. I'm gonna let you finish in a second.
Mm-hmm.
It's more cap, because if they really didn't feel like Sony was their competition, then go ahead and drop the price right now. What you waiting for?
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, there's an audience out there who still sees them as competition. You may not see them as competition, but they see you as competition to these other ones, and they want that, and like you said a while ago with the whole Game Pass thing, yeah, they're all in on Game Pass, but not everybody out there even knows what it is or is about it. So you still need to show up and explain this console, because there are people who are looking for a console. The PC people are already kind of doing their thing, and they're going to get their PCs and do everything
PC,
else.
Baby.
But there is a console consumer out there who looks at Nintendo, who looks at, PlayStation, and they still feel Xbox as a box.
Hey, and Eric, when you walk into Best Buy, the Series X isn't going to be in the Apple Google section.
Yeah,
it's going to be where the next aisle, the game section, be the aisle next to the PlayStation.
And unless you're dispatching your Twitter followers to every Best Buy and GameStop so they can tell the message, you need to get out there and talk.
Oh my God, that's great.
And I know they will. They will.
Yeah, Tony, I want to get your thoughts on this, man.
Yeah, the whole mixed messaging thing. It's interesting because, like, at the beginning of the year, actually no, we got to go back to December, right, when they actually revealed the console.
Yeah, the VGA,
the VGA. Yeah.
So for a while, they've had pretty consistent messaging. And as I said on Twitter, again, by the way, I find it so funny. I always get called a pony and all this shit. When for months I was like, yo, Microsoft is on point. We're getting fucking updates all the time. We think about it like this, right? We got a console.
Tony, you were critical of Sony too, by the way, earlier in the year. I remember.
Hardcore. Why was I critical of them? Because Microsoft showed us a console. They showed us specs. What did Sony give us? A fucking logo, right? That's all we got from
that
Sony.
Shit was funny.
And then Eric, after I remember a controller, like, okay, that's cool. Meanwhile, Microsoft's telling you all this like stuff that you want to hear, right? You know, and like powerful console, this, all this stuff, like this is fantastic. And then within the last like month, it's like, yo, what the hell is going on right now? They're kind of walking back their whole like powerful console thing, going, oh yeah, we're not worried about hardware anymore. We're just worried about games, right? I know you could take it as like, our system is so powerful, developers don't need to worry about it. But I kind of took it as like, let's not really focus on powerful graphics. Let's just worry about games. That's how I take it. And here's the thing, we haven't mentioned on the show yet, right? Why does Halo look like that? I have 2 theories on this, right? One of them is kind of realistic. The other one is maybe a little out there, but it's also within the realm of realism, right? It looks like that. Here's my first theory, because it also has to run on the old dusty ass Xbox One. Has to run on it. It's like, I know, people say, oh, you can scale these games up or whatever. Yeah, but there's still going to be a point where you have to make it work on the lowest common denominator. You can't go fucking crazy. You can't add a nemesis system to something like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's one point. And here's what I personally think happened, right? I could be wrong. This is just me speculating, but I'm going off what I've seen happen with games before, right? I think, and this is also tied in with a report that Jason Schreier, I believe it was Jason Schreier, put out about all these. No, it wasn't Jason Schreier. It was on fucking on Reddit, right? A bunch of 343 developers came out saying how fucked up the studio was, how mismanaged it was, or whatever, and that led to me believing what I think, what I'm about to say now is true. I think some point in development of this game, they scrap whatever the hell they were working on, completely scrapped it and started working from from scratch, basically. Because think about this game's been worked on for 4 years, and it looks like that 3 months before launch. And don't give me this whole because of COVID. Fuck that. No. Ghost of Tsushima still looks fucking amazing. They had to deal with COVID. That shit's been in development for as long as Halo, and for less money. Halo's this is just a report, so take it with a grain of salt. Apparently the budget for Halo Infinite is $500 million, right? That should look like $500 million. He looks like $50 million at best, so I think somewhere along the line they had to scrap the game. Something was going wrong behind the scenes, and they had to start over from scratch. And again, we've seen this happen many times with other games, so I'm not just talking out of my ass here.
Yeah, that is what happened. They started with Unreal Engine. They started with Unreal Engine 4, and then at some point someone made the decision to not do Unreal Engine 4 anymore, and then they switched to developing their own engine, which is Slipspace Engine. And so far, I mean, like that initial demo of Slipspace looked nice, but
if that's what happened, then that proves my point. That was the first thing I thought. I'm like, yo, did this game get developed like somewhere along the line? Because it looks like the game that we saw has been in development for like maybe 2 years tops. And again,
Tony, that's the word that people are saying. It's really been in development earnest for 2 years.
Yeah, Tony, I was going to say too. I think the original design for Halo, why they were using Unreal Engine 4 was they were really going to make it open world where you can explore the entire ring. Yeah. Where now it's going to be open, like there's certain islands of the map that are going to be open to the players. So
I call that. Yeah, I call that open-ish. It's interesting because you can still see traces of that, but and then going back to what you guys were talking about with with this being the premiere game, that shit don't look premiere, man. It really doesn't. And this for Sony too, just to be fair, right? None of these systems have given me a good reason why I need to buy them day one.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Let's just be real. Not
even Horizon Forbidden West. That's not coming out.
That's not coming out in 2023.
That ain't day one, son. That ain't day one.
No, it's not day one. It's not day one, son. What about like even Miles Morales? I understand.
Yo, what is Miles Morales? Let's be real here. Miles Morales is a trumped up DLC game that's being boosted up there to be a console seller. And you saw the report right now, right? The report is, again, take it how you will. It's just a report. They're apparently going to bundle the game with the old Spider-Man. You know what that tells me? Okay, this is just a DLC game, but we want to charge motherfuckers $60 for this. How do we do that? Throw in the old game. Bam, $60. Because from what we've heard, Miles Morales is like a 10-hour game, like Lost Legacy. Don't get me wrong, Lost Legacy's dope game, but you could tell this was supposed to be a side game to the original that Sony went, fuck it. We need something for the system because Sony doesn't have anything for launch. Aside from third-party games, they don't have shit. Microsoft, to their credit, they do have launch games, but Halo, that's looking rough. So I don't see, if I was just a regular motherfucker, why I should buy any of these systems on launch day. It makes no fucking sense.
Hey, that's not pony talk, Tony.
Yeah, I'm just being honest.
Tell him.
Why are you going to pay $500 for that shit?
Hey, Tony, no one could ever call you a pony, man, because you just actually, and it's funny, like Cognito's in the live chat. He's like, we've been trying to tell him, Tony, like, and the Iron Lords, the IOP has been saying that, like, this is a glorified DLC. I've been on the fence, like, look, this is a standalone game, and look, I get it. Sony wants to sell this console. They are using Miles Morales as a way to get and I get that. Like, I understand that. I will say this. I was shocked to hear that. Well, no, I should. I thought I had. No, I should have been shocked. I had some inclination that perhaps maybe they would include, because they want to charge $60, the previous Spider-Man game, so they could get that $60. And
Enrique the Prophet over there, bruh. I like that. And I do want to say there's something I wanted to bring up before, right? Just to really hammer this point home, right? All these moves that Microsoft is doing right now, right? Xbox Game Pass, Project X Cloud, right? I can legit see a future where Xbox will not even have a console anymore, right? Xbox will just become an app you could download anywhere, even on your PlayStation and Nintendo systems, right? Because, and I know that may sound crazy to some people, but what is Microsoft at the end of the day, right? They are not a hardware company, right? Their forte, not forte in the chat, their forte is motherfucking software,
I've been saying
their
that for
strength is.
years.
Exactly,
Hey,
bro.
we've been
So
saying that on the show too, man.
yeah, so this is you see the route they're going. It's very obvious what they're doing here, right? So they're not gonna, this is why we're getting these kind of weird messages from Xbox and stuff, because they're trying to figure out what the hell they want to be. But now it seems like they're going, you know what? Let's just be software, which is fine because you can make a lot of money that way. I understand where they're coming from with that, but just reiterate it again. And this is just for next gen in general. It's sad, and I'm speaking for myself right now. It's sad that the most exciting thing I've seen out of next gen is a fucking demo. I'm talking about the Unreal demo right now. That is the most exciting thing I've seen. Right, the Sony PlayStation showcase didn't wow me. The Xbox showcase didn't wow me. A damn demo did. What does that say? A demo of something that we won't see in games for like 3 or 4 years. That's fucking sad.
People were propping up the reveal just because of that demo, though.
Yeah.
So
we need more knack.
We
don't need
no, we don't.
Speaking about glorified tech demos,
At least that was a tech demo that became a game.
Yeah.
Hey, what about Ratchet? You know what's funny, Tony? I love how candid you are with your opinion, man, because people are like, oh, Tony's a pony, and it's like, nah, no,
man,
no. Tony's gonna keep it 100.
Yo, and here's I'm glad you brought it up. How dope would it have been if they had Ratchet and Clank day one? That would be insane.
I've heard that's going to be the launch window, though.
We'll see.
The launch window is like 6 months.
Yeah,
right?
well,
2021's likely to look pretty good. I think you probably had some COVID launch titles that slid.
Yeah,
that could be the case. Yeah.
Hold on. What's this? One bad mother says, Tony, you missed one thing. Those console APUs are used in Azure. As long as console streaming exists, they might as well throw those APUs in plastic boxes. That's a fair point.
Yeah. And
yeah.
I think Tony will probably see, at the very least. I don't think we're going to get rid of necessarily like hardware consoles per se, or any kind of hardware. I think you, at the very least, will probably see something like an Apple TV device or like a Fire Stick or something.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Yo, look at Carlos Romero. Fuck you, man. By the way, that's one of my hosts. So I can say that shit.
Hey, what's up, Carlos?
In the chat.
Yeah, what's up, Carlos? Yeah, that's funny, man.
You had him on Brap before, right?
Yeah, Carlos has been on Brap.
Yo, by the way, Carlos, man, okay, by the way, this is completely off topic right now, right? I am so glad my birthday was earlier this year, bro, before this whole COVID shit happened, right? I went to New Orleans and Carlos was there with me. We had a fucking blast, man. It was amazing, But shout out to my man Carlos, holding it down.
Yeah, great to see Carlos in the live chat, man. Yeah, man. It's
I'm a brony, Greg. Are you crazy, bro?
What happened?
He says I'm a brony. I don't fuck with that shit, man.
Oh my god,
that pony.
Is that Gregor Bond? Yeah, it's Gregor Bond too.
yeah. Gregor likes to troll.
It's fucking. Oh god. All right, my bad. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I just lost my train of thought, man. I was reading what
we're talking about next gen and all that.
Oh yeah. It's interesting, man. Like this is why I love Brap, because we like to get a different points of view here on the show. I for one have been impressed more so by PlayStation 5 than what Microsoft's shown so far. Where you Tony, you're like, nah, it's just not the best thing I've seen is a tech demo, and I get it. Like I totally get it, man. I totally get it, but it's going to be interesting. I think how Microsoft, because they have another event coming up next month, and apparently they're going to show 2 more exclusives, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Microsoft,
yeah, Sony? Microsoft. Well, Sony's supposed to be showing 2 exclusives too in August, apparently.
Yeah, what are they going to be? Are they going to be like AAA or some fucking indie shit? It's like, what are we going to get here?
Presumably they can hold on to a God of War 2 logo and then.
Yeah, oh my god, I'm getting sick of that. By the way, these companies like, here's a logo. It's like, really? That's what we're doing right now?
Hey, how about this? How about we get the prices of these consoles in
I think we're definitely getting that next month.
Yeah.
At this point, it's just like it's getting to the point. What are you going? Are you going to pull an Apple and wait till like 2 weeks before it launches?
I hope not.
That's not happening.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys have discussed this on the show, but it feels to me, actually not feels, it's pretty obvious what's going on. These companies are playing chicken with the console price. Like, who's going to move first?
Yeah, they're definitely doing that. It seems, which is like as I was saying with Eric. kind of flies in the face of, oh, you know, Sony's not our competition. Our competition is Google and Amazon. No, look, right. Google and Amazon don't have hardware.
You know,
you do. And guess who else has hardware? Sony. So what if you that's not your competition? You would have set your price of your console back in June.
Yep.
But you haven't. So
they're still hurting from 2013. Yeah. They're not going second if they can avoid it.
Right, exactly. Because they went first and they got burned big time. They were too expensive and too weak. You can't be expensive and be weaker than your competition. So they don't have to worry about the power aspect. But I think what they want to be the same price as the PS5.
At least the same price.
Yeah, I think they've been planning to undercut them the whole time. They don't care about selling that box, so they'll sell it at whatever price they want.
So, Hug, you think they're going to come in under $500?
My bet is Series X is $4, and PlayStation 5 is $550 and $5 for the hard drive, non-hard drive, or non-disk drive.
Yo, Hope, let me ask you a question, man, because I've been saying I think the digital one is going to be 400 and the the regular one is going to be 500. And here's my reasoning, right? Yeah. If there's only a $50 difference, why not just get the regular one? You know what I'm saying? And also, I'm just going off of history now. You've never seen a console, except for Nintendo consoles, that end with a 49. They always end with a 99. You know, so I think it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be a $50 difference. I think it's going to be $100 difference. Even though, yes, I and people always give me shit about this. I understand that hard drives only cost whatever, only cost $20 or disk drives.
$10 for Sony.
But these companies will rip you off if they can, But I really don't see how you can have. I think you're going to have a price gap of $100 regardless, just to entice people to buy that digital version. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I don't know. It really depends on whether they want to move you there specifically. So they could do 100. That wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility, but I don't think they have to. And I think they'd rather have the $50. I think 50 is enough to move people. And the bean counters look at it and say, it's $50.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, the reason I bring that up is because I've made this very public. I'm planning to buy the digital version, right? Yeah. But if there's only a $50 difference, I'll get the regular one. If it's only $50, like what the fuck's $50? Who cares? I'll get the regular one.
COVID leaks were suggesting that the wholesale price of parts to Sony was coming in at $450.
That's right. Yeah.
So I think that the price of the unit is going to be $550 is the one that makes the most sense for the normal console, and then I would say $5, and then I would have Xbox come in at $4. And then, Xbox, again, on paper, is an easier sell. They can brute force PlayStation 5. And so you sell it for $100 less. And I think Microsoft, just looking at them historically, how they've dealt with hardware competitors, they've been itching to do this for 7 years. They want to do what Sony did to them.
But why would you price the Series X less than the PS5 if you have the Lockhart as well? Because would that Lockhart end up being just your cheaper option, and that kind of fulfills the whole we're not going to be beat on price anymore? Because then you can say, well, we're not going to be beat on price because we got this cheaper model that also has the SSD and the same Zen 2 CPU.
Well,
so it's next gen.
Just guesses on the Lockhart specs.
Thank you. Yeah, I was about to say, that's still vaporware at this point. We don't know if that thing exists yet. It's still an if.
Well,
it exists. I mean, you cannot believe it, but I think it exists. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. No, I didn't say I don't believe it. I'm just saying it hasn't been confirmed yet. That's what I'm saying.
That's true.
Sony's confirmed that they have a one without a disc, but with Lockhart, that's still a rumor, a strong rumor. Don't get me wrong, but we don't know if it's real yet.
I think Microsoft could come in at the same price. Absolutely a possibility. I think historically, they have occasionally held a grudge and just want to try to decimate someone. And I think they really did in their front office feel that heel turn in 2013, where PlayStation came out stronger and faster and with, pre-owned games being sellable and came in a lower price point. And I think if they had their druthers, they would do something similar to that. They're selling Game Pass. And I say that they're agnostic about selling the box. It's not entirely accurate. They view the box as their gateway to selling the pass. And so
I agree with that.
I think that they are more willing to take a loss on the box than Sony is. Sony has to maintain their economics. And Microsoft says, if we can get a year-long subscriber to Game Pass, frankly, they could give you a Series X. And so they're trying to figure out what that's going to look like. And I don't really know what'll happen because I don't know who will be pushed to go first.
Hogue, why not just if in my mind, I'm thinking if you know you're going to undercut Sony, if you want to, if the end game is to say, you know what, we want revenge. We want. That's not. I don't think they're saying that. But maybe they are. Who knows?
That exactly, but they do a little bit.
Yeah, but my point is if they wanted to do this, why not just do it right now? Say, hey, you know what, we're $399. Boom.
Well, because you don't get the same impact, right? So maybe they say 400 and they pressure Sony, and that's good because Sony has to really stretch downward for their number, but they don't get that same visceral impact. I think they view it as, if you're doing the analysis of what happened in 2013, Sony came off like a cannon because everybody saw it as effectively a bitch slap at E3 2013. And Microsoft saw the effectiveness of that and would love to be able to deliver that blow. Again, all of this is speculation, right? We don't get into their back rooms, into their boardrooms on this, but based on what they have been doing, as you say, there's really no reason for Microsoft to hold their number as much as there is for Sony. So what are they doing? I think they're trying to come in under them. That's just my opinion. Could be different. We'll see what happens. But my best guess is that they want to come in under Sony and they want to press Sony. And they saw that article in whenever it was, February, when there was all this consternation and consideration and leaks that Sony was going to have $450 of internal costs, which I can't imagine the Series X is because there's just not that same level of kind of secret sauce. So I think Microsoft is going to try to undercut them. I do. But who knows?
No, I mean, that's a very compelling argument, man. It makes sense. Makes sense to me. At least.
Recurring revenue models. They want you in the door.
Yeah. You also got to remember, we talked about this. E&B talked about this a while ago where they were talking about
Forte knows the price though.
I wish I knew the price.
Forte, you saw something.
Forte
I did.
One of them was going to be $600. That's what Forte told me.
But Forte did see something that said $399. Forte, you remember that?
Yeah. So I did see something that was $399. It was a console. I just don't know what console it was. You know, they do have code names for those things in the system, so you don't know what they are.
So but you saw a code, you saw a code name for $399 next to it. So we are going to get a $399 next gen console. We just
Sony's not coming out at 4. I guarantee Sony's not coming out at 4. Every bit of their corporate messaging is, we're really about value and not price. Don't think about the dollars out of your pocket. Think about Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Right.
I just think what you expect. They're not coming in at 4 like the last gen.
And they did insinuate that they would be more expensive this time, and they've launched the last 2 SKUs at 400.
No chance at 4. I like 555. I could see, as Tony suggests, I could see 6.5, but I don't.
Oh, please say that again.
I don't think any console is going to go above 500. I'm saying that no fucking way. After what happened with PS3, no way. And I know people are,
PS3 was a decade ago.
Yeah, but you think people are really thinking about that? No, come
on. These people out here spending money.
Aren't game prices the same price?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Joe Blow is going to be like $600. I'm not buying that shit. You know, I'm telling you, man.
The other considerations are it's 2020. And I think both of these console platform owners have to consider nobody has any idea what the economy is going to look like in holiday season. And I think everybody, if you're at all like me in my household, are feeling the pinch of whether or not I'm going to have any clients for 3 months. We're good so far, but who knows in 2020? And so you have these leisure expenditures, which, yes, this is kind of one of the more efficient ways to entertain your family. It's still an open question. And if you come in with those, you've got issues. Nobody's really going to buy both at the front end. That was my plan, and I'm not planning on it anymore. And so you start to look at these kinds of questions. And I agree with you. I think 6 sounds ridiculous, but I also think if Sony looks at last Thursday and says, you know what, they're not a real threat, then who knows what their number is.
That sounds like arrogance. So remember what happened last time. I'm telling you, man.
I'll just tell you, like, just from conversations, because people come in all the time and say, hey, when are we going to be able to do these reserves on these systems? They said, well, what do you think the price is going to be? I said, I just been telling people $600, just had that in your pocket. At the most, that's
out here got people saving money they don't need to pay.
You got to pay your governor. You got to pay, the
damn it, Forte.
Listen, bro. Listen, I've been telling people.
Forte, he's upselling.
I am gonna stay on that bandwagon until we find out what these prices are. I am not.
He gonna have people coming in, man. You told me to save $600. It's $500. You're gonna be like, hey, buy this extra controller.
Exactly, he's upselling. You might need $800. You might want to start saving
money now. Come buy these extra games.
Store right now and ask me, like, dude, how much do you think these systems are going to be? I say, I don't know. They haven't told us. I just value to hold at least $600 in your pocket because that's going to be the high end if it hits that price.
You just got to be ready. Hey, man, I was selling Dreamcasts at Electronics Boutique before I was a lawyer.
my man.
But I also think that E and B been saying this for a long time now. Don't be surprised if you don't get these. If one doesn't come out next month and say these prices, you're going to be on that Apple timetable where you are going to get an announcement 2 or 3 weeks before the system releases. They going to tell you,
bruh.
Oh, I told you they're just going to ask for your ACH account number. You're going to fill out a form, and they're going to say we're going to take what we think is reasonable.
Oh my God, ACH.
you might get all the way up to the 11th hour. You might get it.
Hope, someone is saying you're the voice of reason on this panel.
Oh, well, they missed the Mass Effect 2 discussion.
Yeah, right.
They definitely.
We're not going to get it to Mass Effect.
Look, if they did the Apple thing where Apple don't tell you anything, they don't show you anything, they don't tell you. Well, I mean, they've shown us stuff, but they don't talk price or date of the release of their iPhone until like 2-3 weeks before. Now, at this point now, people don't complain because Apple fans are just let me not say what I'm about to say. They just take everything. Let me just say that. But like it's their cadence of their annual schedule. It's somewhere in September they're gonna have a show and they're gonna say, here's the new iPhone. It's got all the same stuff your last iPhone had, but the number's higher. Come buy it. It's $1,500. It's releasing on the 23rd, and then everyone pre-orders it. All that stuff happens the same month they launch it. Now, if we've never seen these consoles do that, but if one of them did that, I can't see either one of them saying, "Yeah, that's our last resort. We just gonna wait to like."
Well, we don't know what
November.
Microsoft's going to do. I mean, Microsoft could do anything on their number. They could just say, we're going to sell a Super Series X Game Pass for $25 a month. You commit to 2 years, and we will hand you this box. I mean, we don't know what they're going to do.
They do that. They did something like that. Wow.
Look, man, Microsoft has been... I mean, I've been trying to tell people, though, they don't care. People keep saying, well, they do care about selling the box. I said, bro, they don't care about selling this box. I've been saying that for a long time. That box is just the avenue to get people in the service that they care about the most. That's all that box is. And guess what? They don't even need the box to do that. They can do that with just PC.
I told Enrique, I said, yo, if they could stop tomorrow producing the box, they'd be completely fine with it.
Phil Spencer came out and said multiple times that we will always have a box, but trust me, that is only if the box is necessary. Once people get to a point where the box and the numbers that they sell don't equate to them actually making it, they won't make it anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
But now there is a huge amount of people that want the box, and as long as that is the case, you always get it. But trust me, sooner or later,
which goes back to them being in competition with Sony.
And you know what? And I'm sorry, Somo, that you're gonna have to wait until probably September to hear the price of this freaking system.
No, I hope not.
Even if it's September, it's still going to be a couple of months or so before the launch of the console.
Well, I don't.
They are not doing the same month. Here's the price deal. Look, if they did that, you know what? I'll play Bugsnax. I'll live stream.
Oh, don't do that.
They do that.
Bugsnax on the way.
All right, be money. Bugsnax on the way.
I will live stream that game if they say it's November 1st.
Along to the song too while you live stream.
So we'll
I gotta do what?
How many weeks? How many weeks between the announcement of the price and the date that it releases do we have?
Say again.
How long from the announcement of the price and the date that it released do we have?
1 month. So if it comes out, like say on the 17th, then it has to be on October 17th or later,
or earlier. You mean or earlier?
Yeah, or earlier. So whatever the date of the price is, they have to announce it in less than a month before it comes out.
They're coming out next month. I mean, if they did that,
that's how confident I am. They're coming out next month. It's not even a problem for me because that's why I say, I'll live stream.
I think these systems are coming out a lot earlier than you think.
I will sing the song too. I will sing
systems in November, prices next month.
right. I'll sing the Buzzsack song. I'll hum along.
To put on your
strawberries, real strawberries, while I'm playing it too.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, in your scenario, that means they have till October, and I don't think it's ever going to get that long. Because
I don't think so either.
I just think that these. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not in August, but I also think Sony has more to lose when it comes to the price, so that's why they have to get that price number out there. But it's the thing is, people just want to know at this point. It's like the Great Escape. Who's going to break first?
Well, the last thing I'll say on this is that I do think not only is the economy an issue for them in terms of consumer spending, there was definitely a blip, I can tell you from my clients, in manufacturing, particularly overseas, for maybe 6-week period. And there might well be another blip. And so I think one thing that is happening here is that commitment to a price is very difficult because you're not entirely certain what your cost of goods sold is at the corporate level. And so when that happens, you get really, really risk averse in the boardroom or in the vice president's room or wherever it might be. And so I do think, yes, they're playing chicken with each other. Yes, Microsoft doesn't want to get burned like 2013. I think my best guess is that Microsoft has a better handle on all of their cost of goods and Sony doesn't. And they're trying to wait out exactly where their ROI is supposed to be on their sales.
Wait till they announce that stimulus package and watch the prices come out then.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh,
get a piece of the next chapter.
I'm telling you right now.
Oh my goodness.
They have until August 7th to announce what's going on and they go into recess. I guarantee you, if they announce it you get prices right after it. Those prices are going to be what they want them to be versus what they think it should
They'll
be.
just hold the consoles till tax refund day next year, and they'll have a deal with the IRS, and the money can just go straight there.
Right? That's too funny. All right, gentlemen, I do need to wrap up the show.
I'm going to
almost at the midnight. Yeah, it's almost at the midnight hour, but this was a great and fun show. I really appreciate everyone in the live chat coming through. And Wraith the Emperor, by the way, for the second week in a row, he actually got the I dropped a $25 digital code to the PlayStation Store.
Tell people that do it and just do it.
Yeah, you know,
he had all the windows open.
Wraith got a bot in the chat or something, man.
Wraith got, I mean, second week in a row. So I might have to switch it up a little bit. Yeah, I think you're right.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, congratulations, Wraith. But big shout out to everyone in the live chat. And please, if you haven't done so, hit that like button. If you're new, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you get notified when we go live. But also want to say thank you to our special guest this evening. Big shout out to Tony and Ho. Tony, dude, great having you back on Brat, man. Let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, man, you can find me over on the Twitters. My name is Romudeth. That's ROMUDETH. And if you check out my bio, you see links to all my stuff. I'm currently writing for PC Mag and Laptop Mag. Got a couple of reviews coming. I actually just finished up my reviews for the GeForce Now, right? And the fucking Project X Cloud. So should be cool. A lot of streaming stuff, and there's gonna be it's all gonna culminate in a big like show off type of thing. You know, I don't want to say too much, but I've been reviewing a bunch of streaming devices and I'm gonna put them all together. It's gonna be pretty dope, you know. And obviously you can follow me at Throwdown, that we air every Thursday and Sunday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Thursday is where we cover all the big gaming news of the week, and then Sunday is where we answer all the fan questions, which is always a crazy show because fans ask us some nutty stuff sometimes, you know. It's all good. And again, hit me up on Twitter, Romudeth. I'm always out to talk to somebody as long as you keep it civil, right? You come at me with some bullshit, I'm not gonna pay attention to you, man. you know. So yeah, and again, bro, thank you for having me on. It's been a while. I'll try to come back on a little bit more often if I can. Again, things right now because of the Rona, it's fucked up, but it is good to have a little bit of free time, a little bit of time to breathe. So I may pop back on again, and just thanks for having me on. This was a blast tonight, bro.
Absolutely, Tony, man. Definitely got to get you back on again soon. And Hogue, thank you again, man. Pleasure having you back on. Glad we didn't get into Mass Effect again, but please let everyone know they can find you, man.
Mass Effect 2 is the best game of last gen.
Woo!
Facts. Big facts.
Wow. Okay, we're just gonna let that go. That's absolutely fine. I am a practicing lawyer by day. So if you're forming a company or otherwise need help with your contracts, you can find me at www.hoglaw.com. If more likely you're interested in video game news and whatnot, we have a channel for Hogue Law at YouTube/Hogue Law, where we do primarily a show called Virtual Legality, where we talk about business and law and really try to analyze all the stories that you're otherwise taking in from journalists like Tony regarding the pop culture that you love with respect to video games, movies, TV, and whatnot. And looking at it through the lens of my professional experience, hopefully in a cool and educational way. We are experiencing a growth burst right now. So we're coming up on 20,000 subscribers, which is just amazing to me for my little law firm. But please do check us out and do all those good things. We just did a couple of videos on Microsoft's mixed messaging, Sony having potential issues with messaging exactly what Miles Morales is, and whether or not they might be fibbing a little bit or controlling their executive vice president of European business matters. And so please do check that out as well. And otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at Hogue Law, same spelling as everywhere else.
Awesome, man. Thank you again, Hogue. Always a pleasure having you on. Again, we'll have to get you back on as well soon. And Eric Jackson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Another good show. Great having Tony and Hogue on. Great conversation, guys. And yeah, you can find me on Twitter, EC Jackson with an X. And when I'm not here, Gaming Perspective, Saturday night, 8 o'clock.
Awesome, man. And B Money.
Yeah, appreciate the guests coming through this week. We had a great show. Expect those console prices in September, man. They're not coming anytime soon. But I'll see y'all next week, and you can follow me everywhere. Same name, B Money 101.
Awesome, man. Thank you, B. And Slow-Mo, I hope you get to play Bug Snacks.
I hope I don't. I actually am very confident that I won't. But
hey, man, I'm looking forward to that sing-along, man. Come on, man.
Look, man. Look, that's how confident I am. I'm going to sing along, eat strawberries, and play the game live stream. If that happens, but we all know it's not.
If this happens, Slow-Mo, you are going to.
If it happens, I'm cursed. Like literally, like I just created it. Like the universe shifted and said we're in a different multiverse just because he said that, and we're gonna make it happen. That's the only reason it will happen, but it won't. It won't. Yeah.
No doubt.
But yeah, if you were doing my outro, I could say it.
Go
now.
ahead, yeah.
Check out my YouTube channel, Slow-Mo Backslap, and also check me out on Twitter. And if you want to see me next on the podcast, I will be on Scumcast this Saturday on the Ash and Lucas YouTube channel. That's at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Awesome. And Gaming Forte.
Man, great show. This was draining because all of these personalities in here was making some great points, and it was just hard to come back at anything. So that's the mark of a great show, and I really appreciate the time that we had with you guys. Tony, shout out to you, Ho. Keep making those great videos, man. Looking forward to the next Dr. Disrespect one because no one knows what the hell's going on there. So we definitely we're waiting for you to put it out. But
I think exactly half my audience hates those and half of it loves them.
No, yeah, I was gonna ask you that, man. Like, how many people call you a clout chaser because you're all on those videos and you never made that type of video before?
I had to go figure out what that even was. I got called clout chaser law. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's great.
I saw it in this comment section one time. They called him a clout chaser. I was like, what?
Man.
It's funny. It's like you say I don't do those videos, but it's like I look at it and I see a contract dispute. So I say, oh, everybody's fighting about what it is. And this is the kind of thing where I say, yeah, I can do a video I can tell you what I see, and hopefully that's helpful for everybody. And I think it was that the first video in that series was by far my most popular video that I've ever done on the channel. And it went to like really low trending for a little while, which was fun. But I I don't know. It's one of those things where I try to constantly evolve the channel, and people call it clickbait or they call it clout chaser or whatever. I can only do what I think is interesting and fun and let the people say what they want to say.
Yeah, I call it misinformed because that's what those people are that go there and say that. So
yes.
Unfortunately, your show is amazing, and ever since you was on the Iron Lords that one time, I've been always keeping up with it. That you just blew up in literally the last few months. So congrats to you. But
Thank you. We're having fun.
Absolutely. As for me, Gaming Forte everywhere, YouTube and Twitter. Check us out over there. Me and Slow-Mo did a live stream yesterday. We talked about a lot of the stuff we talked about here, but if you want to hear an epic rant, go check it out because the first 5 minutes of it is fire. Slow-Mo didn't even let me do an introduction to the show. He just got right into it. So shout out to him. And oh yeah, and check out the Evolve video I put out earlier today. It was basically about everything that's going on that we know about that game. And man, it's been an amazing week. Avowed. I put that video out today.
I thought he said Evolved.
Yeah, I think he said Evolved.
That's what I thought Evolved too. I'm like, who the fuck?
Did I say Evolved, man?
That game came out 8 years ago.
Game was trash. If I put an RPG in with a 1v3 type situation game or whatever it was. No, that game was trash though. But yeah, go check out that video, man. It was a very good insight to everything that I think is going on, plus what everything that was availed in a leak that came out. So shout out to everybody that checked it out, and thanks again, Enrique. Great show.
Awesome. All right, there's a lot of strawberries in the live chat. So
Enrique, fucking Racer X said that you dumpster dive for your PC. Oh, yo, that's funny.
That is funny. That's okay. Hey, you know what? Not all of us can bask in the glorious PCMR, so it's all good. It's all good.
Remember, you said, are you off the Xbox train again, sir? Because
you flip flopping, man.
Yeah,
every week. Next week he's like, I think I'm getting the Series X, guys.
Probably. I don't think I'm gonna get it.
What about a PlayStation? Because
yes, definitely PlayStation 5. That's day one. Yeah, I'm not even
day one.
Day one,
Tony.
Hey, as you say, Tony, day one.
I want to get one. I want to get one day one, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it before the pre-orders go up. You know how I'm really kind of concerned that when pre-orders go up, it's just going to be like concert tickets for some popular. You got?
I got
cool.
you.
Wait, Forte. How about the rest of it? Wait, Forte.
It's too late. He got me.
For your boy,
he got me. He can't get all of us.
No, I got you. As long as you send me the money, I got you.
All right, Forte.
We need that Brad hookup, man.
Yeah.
Situation that somebody that can actually do that for you.
And if it comes down to where you can only select a few of us from the show, you already sent Enrique a Last of Us box. So he got his one in already.
Well, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, they closed after a while, but they opened back up. I think when it was all said and done, I had close to 200 reserves on both of them. So it all depends on what that initial wave is. I don't even know if they're going to do a lockout. They probably will. It just depends on what Sony's willing to give at the beginning and Microsoft is. So, but I already told people I got y'all back. I got like 3 people on the line. So if you want to get on the line, just make sure you got
Forte. Like I said, man, just make sure.
I'm not paying for your shipping though.
No, dude, I got you, man. I got you. No, you didn't have to pay for shipping last time, man.
Oh, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Slow-Mo.
Oh yeah, okay. Look,
I got you, man.
Hey, look, if Slow,
when you told me you got me, that means you buying it, right?
Look,
I didn't say that. I'm just saying, Slow, make sure I got a pre-order, bro.
Just make sure me, B Money, Eric, we're in the front of the line. Slow-Mo, whatever,
So
Wow. Don't worry about Slow-Mo. Just worry about us.
It's all good, man.
If you need one, we in the same area.
I am.
Yeah, you live in Michigan, don't you?
I do.
Right. I'm in Clinton Township.
Nice.
So come holler. If you can't get one, I make sure you get one.
I appreciate it. I will.
Forte, you sound like a drug dealer right now, man.
I am.
Right?
Listen.
You are? Yeah, man. I saw you coming out of your place of business last week. Remember?
Hey, yo,
what?
it is method of madness because we all know what GameStop's going through right now. So the more profitable my store is and the more stuff I sell, the better I look.
There you go.
I will make sure I take care of all the people I can take care of because that just means more systems for my store to sell.
No doubt, Forte. I hear that, man. I hear that. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up the show. Thank you to everyone in the live chat. Thank you to our guests tonight. And thank you to the Brat panel as always. We'll catch you guys next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for that world premiere. We'll see you guys. Have a great weekend. Peace.
Later.
Peace.